In a time of universal deceit, telling the truth is a revolutionary act. George Orwell. Yeah. This is Blood Politics. The only podcast where we don't talk about politics. We be about politics. And our mission statement is to empower, educate, and encourage everyone to speak out against fascism. Speak out against injustice and fight for freedom and equality for everyone. This is blood politics, and we ain't stopping till they put us in the grave. We ain't gonna be quiet, and we ain't gonna be scared, and we ain't gonna go along with the crowd. This is blood politics.
All right, what's happening, guys? What's going on, you stoners? I appreciate you for joining me once again. Make sure you hit that like button. What's happening? What's going on, chat? How you doing? You guys having a good day? Huh? Did you enjoy the interview I did earlier? If you haven't checked that out, make sure you check that out after the show. We did a fantastic interview with Preston Stewart. Shout out to Preston once again for joining us and giving us his time. A lot to talk about as it pertains to Iran, the war with Iran, and also Ukraine. Obviously going to have him back because there's lots more to discuss, lots more that I want to get into. But again, it is Wednesday, May 13th, 2026. So thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule, taking the time out of your night to spend a little bit here with me in the chat here. I appreciate you guys. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you can. We're on our way to 20K. Got a little boost recently, so let's see if we can keep that going. Let's see if we can keep that train a chugging along, guys. 20K before midterms is the goal. So I appreciate everybody trying to get us. What do you say we bring in the chat? Say hi to you beautiful people, because you guys deserve some screen time, as always. I mean, nobody gives you guys the screen time you deserve, but you guys deserve some screen time. Like Dustin 420, what's up, my friend? How are you? How are you, Debbie? What's up, DPD? What's going on, Jeff? What's up, Yakov? Shout out to all the mods. Salute to you guys. Thank you so much for the work that you guys do down there. What's going on, Flipper? How are you, my friend? What's up, Graphene? What's up, Gamer? What's up, Ricky? Thank you so much. I saw Ricky already sent in a Venmo before the show even started. So thank you so much, Ricky. What's up, Spider? I see you hanging over there on Twitch. What's up, Facebook? What's up, YouTube, Twitch, Instagram, Substack? Make sure you hit that like button, thumbs up, thumbs down. Both of them really help to show the algorithm that you're engaged. Whether you hate it or you love it, doesn't really matter, I don't think. That's what I've been told, at least. So that's what we're rolling with at this point. That's what we're rolling with at this point. What's going on, Deb? How are you? I appreciate you guys. Welcome in, one and all. As you guys filter in, make sure you hit that like button. Lots to discuss tonight. What's on the agenda? We're going to have, like I said, a little bit more laid-back show tonight, just kind of catching up on a few of the clips and stories that people are discussing. We got some information here that kind of tells us that there's some F-16 action happening in the Middle East, more F-16s allegedly arriving in the Middle East as escalations could possibly be likely, after this trip by Donald Trump to China that we're looking at now. We got a couple clips from Pete Hegseth and Kash Patel in Congress. Trump's polling the worst in history. Plus, it's really no surprise that we're seeing these polling numbers, considering what people are paying now at the grocery store, what people have been paying at the pump, and of course, the racist shit that Donald Trump's been posting on Truth Social. Because I mean, it's pretty blatant, pretty obvious as to what the I don't know what the message is that he's trying to send by posting the things that he's posting. We got a Lego video overload at this moment in time. I'm a little backed up. It's been a while since we've checked into, a ton of them, but they are coming in hot and heavy. I think there's been some more accounts popping up here and there that are trying to get in on the Lego train. So we got a few of those videos to check out as well. We got an update from Preston Stewart. I don't know how he was already able to put out an update since we did our interview, but he has. So he'll be talking a little bit more about the Strait of Hormuz and what's going on in Iran. We got Benny Johnson doing propaganda for the president and his trip to China, and then multiple stories and updates from what's going on in Ukraine. So once again, shout out to everybody in the chat. What's up, Dame? What's going on? Liberal Dan, what's up, my brother? How are you, my friend? What's going on, Jim? What's up, Carol? What's up, Namaste? Hi, Suzanne. How are you? What's up, Tricenia? Heidi? Welcome in one and all as the sparklers. Hopefully they begin to join us at some point as well. So like I said, make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. All right. Thank you so much, chat. Very much appreciate you guys. What do you say we dive into just a little bit of the nonsense, guys? This is the first thing that we're going to touch base on is not a good message sent here by the president of the United States. I got to say, this is something that I'm sure the Republicans are not too happy about. JD Vance already has a clip out there we'll take a look at, trying to get people to believe that's not, or this isn't what Donald Trump said, what you're about to hear. But this message going into midterms, especially when we're looking at gas prices, again, as I referenced, the gas station across the street jumped up another, I think it was 10 cents today. I think it went from $3.98 to $4.08. And again, I know that's probably much lower than a lot of you guys in the chat are paying. So I'm not putting that in comparison with anything. I'm just giving you the updates on where it's changing, how fast it's changing, what it looks like. I think the average right now, what's the national average? Someone around 453-ish. Let me see if I can look that up real quick. Give you guys kind of the up-to-date. 451 it was right now. So 451 is the current average, which is just absolutely insane. Average in California now is 614, 534. Washington 577. It's just crazy. So basically a week ago the average was 453. Yesterday it was 450. Now today it's 451. So a slight uptick since yesterday. But of course, these gas prices, the fuel prices, whether it be jet fuel, diesel, regular petrol, is having a huge impact on everyday life, whether you're paying for groceries, whether you're paying for goods at the home goods store, whatever it may be that you need for your daily life, is inevitably costing more. And we're just starting to see, some of the experts are saying, just starting to see a little fraction of that, because what we're seeing is basically the cost from the fuel side of the things. But once we see, kind of the impacts of the decrease in fertilizer, now that, we're in planting season, and once, those plants are ready to be picked and we go to see that, not much shit is there, it's also going to be a problem for a lot of people around the world that rely upon that stuff and those goods. But this is one of the more remarkable clips that you'll ever hear a United States president say. One of the more tone-deaf, I don't give a shit about optics, I'm just a complete and utter moron that is trying to sink my party for the midterms. Either that, he just feels so comfortable in the ability that his party has to just cheat and steal and lie behind the scenes and just, change the maps when they want to change them, to disallow, the people's vote when the people vote on the maps change, the map changes that they want to see take place. But again, that's a different story for a different time. But this is one of the more ridiculous things, again, like I said, you'll ever hear a United States president say. He's directly asked about, his feelings, what's going on here with the plight of the American people, what they're now facing with rising costs. Basically, the promises that he came into power spewing were, I'm going to take down your energy costs by 50% in about 10 days. I was going to end the war in Ukraine in 13 seconds. Gas prices were going to be cut in half in 16 and a half minutes. That type of shit. So his response here is really not shocking to a lot of people, but just kind of really telling as to his I don't give a fuck attitude. Like, he doesn't give a shit about how much you're struggling. He doesn't give a shit about how many people have been kicked off their health care. He doesn't give a shit how many people, are now struggling to put food on the table and have to decide between, gas in the car or paying the babysitter, or gas in the car or, letting this kid, letting their kid go to the field trip or do an extracurricular activity that costs a bunch now. I mean, it's ridiculous. But here he is, Donald Trump, basically saying, I don't give a fuck about you. Basically, I'm laser focused on this whole nuclear bullshit because it's taken the focus off the Epstein files. So the longer I can stay on that track, the better. Meanwhile, I don't give a shit about the hurt that it's putting on the people of the United States. And then obviously, the world in general that is now feeling the pinch from the closure of the Strait of Hormuz, and obviously the ongoing conflict in Iran, which, a lot of people are now speculating. We're just kind of now sitting with our, our thumb up our ass, twiddling our thumbs, waiting for the inevitable escalation that a lot of people have been, said is likely to come after Donald Trump's trip to China. So let's check this out. This is where, like I said, basically says he doesn't give a fuck about you.
When you're negotiating with Iran, Mr. President, to what extent are Americans' financial situations motivating you to make a deal?
So to what extent are the United States people's financial situation motivating you to make a deal? I know it's tough to hear. Again, Twitter shit site, my apologies. And then you'll hear his answer here to that question.
Not even a little bit. The only thing that matters when I'm talking about Iran, they can't have a nuclear weapon. I don't think about American financial situation. I don't think about anybody. I think about
I don't think about Americans' financial situation is one of the most remarkable quotes that I have ever heard come out of the mouth of a fucking president of the United States. Like, that is wild. Quite literally, the one thing, the main thing that he's supposed to be worried about, the people that he now is presiding over, the people of his own country. Like, to say that he doesn't give a shit about how many people are being affected by this, right? How many people are having to close up shop? How many people are having to, sell their homes or get out of the apartment that they can no longer afford, now living in their cars, their vehicle, whatever the fuck that's now going on. I mean, you guys are feeling the pinch, just like everybody else. So you guys know how much this is a slap in the face, just like everybody else knows how much this is a slap in the face. When this guy's out there spending, $1 billion on a fucking ballroom, he's out there painting what's it called? The reflecting pond, right? He's out there painting that blue for millions of dollars. He's talking about painting the Eisenhower building for millions of dollars. He's talking about building the Arc de Trump, right, for millions of dollars. All this shit that nobody asked for, nobody wants, while people are suffering all over the fucking place in this country, trying to figure out, again, how you're going to rob Peter to pay Paul to make your fucking ends meet. And this guy's out here saying that, no, I'm not even remotely, does that cross my mental thought, whatever mental thought this guy is still capable of, the plight, the problems that the American people are now facing. He's just, it's irrelevant to the decisions that he's now making. And again, that's a wild fucking clip. Again, even for this asshole who's come out with, I'm probably the top, 10,000 of the most wild clips said by a president of the United States. This is right up there, and it's got to be a problem and will be a problem for Republicans, both, local, state, federal, to have to answer questions now, like why the president is out there saying that he doesn't give a fuck about how much pain he's causing the American people. And again, like the world in general. It's, goes well beyond just the United States at this point too.
One thing, we cannot let Iran have a nuclear weapon. That's all.
So again, that's him reiterating the fact that he doesn't give a shit about what you guys are now experiencing as far as economic hardship, and it's only likely to not only continue but to escalate again, as a lot of people are thinking. Welcome in, one and all. I appreciate you guys. Thank you to all the sparklers that are joining me over there from Hal's Live. Shout out, love, and respect back to Hal over there. Hope he had a great show. I know he did. He always does. So I appreciate you guys for coming in. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. If you're not, we've had a good push lately, really good push, towards 20,000 subscribers. So let's see if we can continue that train. Let's see if we can continue that journey. Thank you so much for the people that are gifted in the chat as well. Very much appreciated. I see you guys in there, and everybody will be congratulated. Everybody will be appreciated at the end of the show, as always. So stick around to the end. But thank you so much. You only missed one clip there. So the second thing that I wanted to look at, like I said, we're just going to be diving into a few of these news clips, a few of the stories that people are talking about. This is the same thing here, though, because CNN already doing, a back-to-back kind of a side-by-side comparison, because J.D. Vance is already out there on the propaganda trail, having to lie about what Donald Trump said. Like, we've heard this basically since Donald Trump got into politics. Donald Trump will say something stupid. He'll say something erratic. He'll say something racist. He'll say something bigoted, right? He'll say something absolutely fucking insane or stupid. And then everybody has to cover up for that, right? Everybody then has to come in and be like, well, I know that's what he said, but what he really meant to say was this. Or you kind of have to read between the lines with Donald Trump. That's not actually what he said, much like they had to do with his, ending the entire civilization of Iran tweet that he put out there. Well, that was more along the lines of to the regime. Meanwhile, we understand what civilization means and what that entails. We're not fucking morons. But this is, again, along those lines. J.D. Vance, I think, questioned at one of his press conferences, one of the interviews that he was doing about Donald Trump's statements. And then he goes on to, again, lie directly to the cameras, lie directly to the world about his statements. Again, like, oh, I don't think that's what he said. I think that's been misrepresented. Meanwhile, we heard it with our own ears. We're not fucking stupid. We understood what he said. We understood what he meant by it. It lines up with the decision-making process, considering the hurt and the pain that he has been causing and continues to cause without getting us out of this situation. Just shows that he doesn't give a shit who's hurt by this. Just goes to show that it's his own egomaniacal fucking, intentions that are leading him in this, and not, kind of what he's supposed to be doing and taking care of his own country. So check this out. This is, again, just a quick clip from CNN, 35 seconds, doing a side-by-side comparison of J.D. Vance to what Donald Trump just said in the clip we just watched.
When you're negotiating with Iran, Mr. President, to what extent are Americans' financial situation motivating you to make a deal?
Not even a little bit. The only thing that matters when I'm talking about Iran, they can't have a nuclear weapon. I don't think about American financial situation. I don't think about anybody.
Again, I can't hear it. I don't think about Americans' financial situation is fucking diabolical. That is insanity to utter those words. Like, it's one thing to, to talk about these things behind closed doors and be like, okay, this is an existential threat, yada, yada, yada. And I know I'm giving them too much fucking credit here, but to say it in front of cameras and to let people get that quote and get that clip from you, from your party, is wild. You know what I mean? But then, like I said, he goes on here to JD Vance excusing it and basically saying that's not what you heard.
I think about one thing. We cannot let Iran have a nuclear weapon.
I don't think the president said that. I think that's a misrepresentation of what the president said. But look, I agree with the president that Iran should not have a nuclear.
Yeah, I don't think that's not something that I, hanging around the president all the time, usually from his asshole, have ever heard the president say. So it's unlikely that he said it in that way. And I'm sure the fake news media is misrepresenting the way he said it, even though we just played that twice on the show. And it's pretty clear to hear from everybody, even, as we play it off this shitty fucking hack site known as Twitter nowadays. You can't hear a goddamn thing, but we still managed to pick up what he said, JD. So I'm not sure what the specific question was that was posed to JD Vance, about what Donald Trump said. But again, it's the same shit. It's the same rigmarole. It's the same, it's either that's not what Donald Trump meant. He didn't mean to say it like that, or it's they're just unaware of anything that Donald Trump said. So they have like this playbook that they go by of these excuses when the media questions them about something that Donald Trump said or has done. It's either, no, I'm sorry, I'm unaware of that. I haven't seen that quote. I haven't seen that tweet. I haven't seen that meme. Or it's, again, you're misrepresenting what he meant. That's not actually what he was saying. What he actually meant to say was this. So we've been hearing that for some, 11 years, going on 11 years at this point now. So nothing new. But, to see it still happening to this point, to this degree, when everything is so blatantly obvious to everybody else, just goes to show you the sycophancy and the levels in which these people are likely to go to as the Titanic is sinking. Some rats are inevitably going to jump from that sinking ship, and then some of them are going to fucking be sitting there dancing with the band as the ship goes down. And I feel like, a lot of these people represent that latter category of the people that are going to be dancing with the band as the ship goes down. But there's a few more clips here that a lot of people are discussing and talking about, some coming from some moments here in Congress. This is one of the other ones that people were discussing as well, where I think Doug Burgum is being questioned here about some of the statements that Trump has made in the past. And I think it does a pretty good job of drilling home just how ridiculous and false some of the statements and assertions Donald Trump has made. And, some of the facial expressions here by Doug Burgum are pretty spot on. So I just figured I'd play this quick clip. It's only about 43 seconds long here, so not a long clip. And then we got a couple here from Pete Hegseth, and then one from Kash Patel that everybody's talking about as well. So let me throw this on the screen. And again, here, this is Doug Burgum, just being kind of slapped in the face with some of Donald Trump's stupidity. Oh, come on. You wanted to play when I didn't want you to play. Now that I want you to play, you don't want to play. Play. No, you just I don't understand that. Like, you just wouldn't shut up.
Because you know better.
What I do
I'm going to
know,
ask you to help clear up a few things for us. President Trump said,
what I do know, sir,
this is Trump and his windmills cause cancer assertion here, where he says if you have a windmill anywhere near your house, they say noises cause cancer. Even has the date there in which he said it, 4/2/2019. And then he flips it over and he's got these things where it says obviously it's false, and then he gives the actual factual statement, the actual factual data here.
your house, the noise causes cancer. True or false, Mr. Secretary? False.
Look at this. This is what I love. This is the best part about it, though. This is by far the best part about it. He's like, fuck me. Like, how the fuck did I get into this position? Like, I just wanted proximity to power, right? I just wanted to fucking be able to rape the stock market with insider trading. You know what I mean? I wanted to fly on a couple corporate jets. I wanted to, hang around with the president and see what the White House was like. I didn't want to sit here and have to answer for why Donald Trump is saying that windmills cause fucking cancer. I don't know. Like, that's like, he doesn't have an answer to the question. Even look at the people behind him. Look at this woman's like, oh, Jesus Christ, that's bad. That's a bad one.
The noise does not call, according to the American Cancer Society, they have not found any evidence that any kind of noise causes.
So not just windmills in the noise don't cause cancer, but, per the people that know more than you do, Mr. Burgum, there are no noises that are currently known to man that cause cancer. So just to show you how ridiculous that statement was. And he goes on with a few more here too.
Cancer, particularly noise from wind energy. China has very, very few wind farms.
This is one that we called out on this show. Like, we actually went as far as to pull up Google Earth, right? And I was like, that doesn't sound like it's something that's true. Like, that sounds like basically the opposite of everything that I've heard about, solar farms and wind and kind of green energy from China and their building of these plants and stuff. So, you did the old Google Earth machine and we looked up and we looked for just, one wind farm there. And it was one of the biggest fucking wind farms that literally exist on this planet. The thing was enormous, and it was just one of many of those similar things that exist all around China. So the ridiculousness of that statement basically lasted about, about 3 seconds before it was accurately called out by everybody on Earth.
True or false? The answer is false. China added more wind generation last year than the rest of the world combined.
That's the best part, though. It's not even just that it's false. It's like how false it is. You know what I mean? It's like the statement. They don't even utilize. They don't utilize wind farms. They don't utilize fucking wind farms and shit like that. You know what I mean? And then the actual statement is actually, they actually utilized more wind and solar energy than the entire world combined. It's just, it gets, I don't know. I find that to be really fucking beautiful.
They get 15% of their electricity from wind, which is almost as high as North Dakota. The most expensive form of energy, because you know better.
Goes on there to debunk Donald Trump's claim of I think it was wind and solar being the most expensive of energies. But no, there's a few more of these we got to get into as well, because a lot of these Trump acolytes looking like idiots. I found this to be insanely hypocritical here from Pete Hegseth. I know there's a bunch of clips that come out of this. I won't subject you to a bunch of these. There's basically just two that pertain to each other that I wanted to talk about here. The hypocrisy of both Pete Hegseth, talking about how he hasn't utilized any of the $400 million allocated or could have been allocated or should be allocated to the help and assistance of the Ukrainian military in their fight against the Russians, while also at the same time talking about how he's sending different advisors and different military intelligence people over to Ukraine to study the battlefield and the usage of drones and how warfare is changing. It's almost like they're using it as like their fucking, like their like real life war gaming. Like they don't want to help. They don't want to assist, right? They took off the direct aid that we were giving to Ukraine. And now we have to do this fucking rigmarole of going through the EU and the EU giving it to Ukraine and bullshit. That way they can say that we're not sending anything directly to Ukraine. But at the same time, again, they want to utilize the information and the knowledge that they can get through the death and destruction that is happening on the battlefield, right? So this is here. It says Pete Hegseth and his staff came to the Senate to ask for a $500 billion increase for the Pentagon. But when asked about the Iran war spending, they're like deer in headlights. Billions of taxpayer dollars are vanishing into a war with zero exit strategy, and those in charge have no idea where the money goes. So this was, again, one of the instances here that everybody's talking about, because the number that they're stating there, the first number that they gave, the $25 billion, was like ridiculously low in comparison to what everybody else is suggesting this war is costing us and has cost us already. So now they're revising their numbers, and I believe the number they're coming out with is $29 billion. But when questioned what in that $29 billion entails, doesn't seem like the person that's in charge here, that's testifying to these numbers, actually knows what's inside of that, that report or what it entails in general. So just a quick clip from this, and then there's a couple more I wanted to say here. Let me see. There was one here where Pete Hegseth says that military personnel and Defense Department staff are regularly sent to Ukraine for combat training and missions, while also here there's another one talking about the congressionally approved $400 million from Ukraine nearly 5 months ago that Pete Hegseth has not spent a dollar of that on weapons for Ukraine. So a few of these clips to get into. Here's this one here talking about the lack of transparency, let's just say, and the lies being told on how much this war is costing this country at this moment. Let me throw this one on the screen for you guys. Much appreciated.
Today, I think the number's $29 billion. Can you provide some details as to what consists of that $29 billion? Have we counted everything?
Yeah, Senator Reid. So I testified this morning to HACD that
Between the joint staff and the comptroller staff, our operational cost estimate is now $29 billion. A lot of that increase comes from having a refined estimate on repair or replacement costs for equipment. Our munitions costs are fairly fixed. We think they're
so repair and replacement cost for equipment really doesn't make sense when you consider the next line of questioning, because it really shows their inability to get in and to kind of assess how much damage has been done really to the U.S. bases in the Middle East, and exactly what it's going to cost U.S. taxpayers to fix those bases, or to revamp those bases, or to help install new air defenses on those bases, whatever decision they decide to go with. Like, they don't seem to have any clue right now. That's not in the $29 billion assessment. There's a lot of things that this guy seems to not really be too sure if it's on the assessment or not. So, check this one out.
very accurate, and there's some O&M costs there as well. We're not making an estimate for MILCON at this time. We don't know what our future posture is going to be. We don't know how those bases would be reconstructed, and we don't know what percentage our allies and partners will pay for that reconstruction.
So you do not consider installations that have been damaged in the conflict, correct?
We just don't have a good estimate at this time.
We just don't have a good estimate at this time. The senator asked, so you're basically saying that the damage to the U.S. bases and the repair cost of those is not in the $29 billion assessment, which, again, let me just show you how ridiculous it is in comparison to, what other people are speculating that it's costing us. So they say $29 billion. I'll throw this on your screen. This is the Iran war cost tracker that everybody has been talking about. And again, this is calculated per day at about $1 billion right now. And again, a lot of people right off the bat were speculating that even that was a conservative estimate. That was a lowball estimate for what this would cost the United States per day, depending on, obviously, ammunitions expenditures, how much of the stockpile has been depleted, how much damage is incurred, throughout our bases, and obviously the equipment that are engaged in this battle. But this says here we're up above $80 billion, okay? $80 billion. So that's nowhere even in the same fucking universe as the $29 billion that the I don't know, what do you look like, 21-year-old kid in Congress is trying to get us to believe that they've spent so far. So just to show you like the discrepancies and the difference, this isn't like, okay, this is saying 32 billion. Meanwhile, they're saying 29. We're off by a couple billion. Like, we're off by fucking a substantial amount here. Like, nowhere even close. And again, if this is one of the more conservative estimates, and a lot of people are speculating we're now, up around and hovering the $100 billion mark, if you include, all things, is just kind of showing you the difference in the rhetoric and the line of bullshit that you're getting from this government, and what people are speculating and what people are reporting on as probably being the truth, as opposed to what you're hearing from the government. So just to kind of show you the difference there. In what they're saying, but I'll let him kind of go on with his not knowing what was in this report.
So it's not in the $29 billion.
That's correct.
Expended weapons, are they totally included within the estimate?
Yes, to the best of my knowledge, we have a full count of the expended weapons.
And
again, that doesn't sound definitive, right? There's no definitive answers being, to the best of my knowledge. And again, I think he gives kind of one more mealy mouth, like, lawyer response, and during this clip here, where it's kind of like, well, that's not definitive. That doesn't show me that you have a clear understanding of where the money's gone, how much has been spent, and you can give us a clear line by line calculation of where that money's gone. This whole like, yeah, I'll check it out to the best of my knowledge, as far as I've seen type of bullshit isn't going to fly when you're talking about war, when you're talking about congressional, authorization to see where that money's spent, and you under oath testifying in front of Congress. That's just not, like, it shouldn't be allowed to fly, I should say.
Weapons transferred to other countries in the region, are they counted in?
I would want to double check to make sure we have that accurately.
Please,
So question is the weaponry that has been transferred to or from other countries, has that been calculated in your estimates? Doesn't seem to know. I'd have to double check. Let me reiterate, let me make sure that I'm not, looking like an asshole under oath here before I answer that question, because I'm really not sure, basically, is the answer.
You're coming up and asking for another significant supplemental, et cetera. And before we can, I think, reasonably appropriate additional money, we have to find out how the existing appropriated dollars.
Yeah, yeah. You're asking for more fucking money. We don't know where the last billions of dollars we gave you went. How are we supposed to be giving you more billions of dollars? You know what I mean? Like, you guys can't even give us a clear indication of how the money previously authorized for you guys to use has been spent. So, you know, can we put a pause on giving you guys another what? What are you asking for? $500 billion? What was he asking for here? Something along those lines?
Yeah, so that's critically important. And I know also that the budget asked for another $350 billion in reconciliation. How essential is that to your budget?
I would say it's extremely essential to achieve the generational investment.
But I think that was about all I wanted to see from that clip. I think that gives you kind of a clear indication as to the lack of transparency, the lack of definitive answers that you get from these people that are supposed to be under oath testifying to Congress about what is happening, you know, based off of, again, the authorization that Congress has to ask these questions and to utilize what money is being spent and to know where it's going and stuff. Here's another one of these things, though, because this is the hypocrisy that I found kind of too much to bear, too much to take. This is Pete Hegseth. Like I said, I'll show this one first, where he's talking about the $400 million that was approved for Ukraine nearly 5 months ago, and that Pete Hegseth has yet to spend $1 of that on weapons for Ukraine. And then his next statement there, where he goes on to talk about the importance of sending military personnel and staff over to Ukraine to learn from what's happening on the battlefield, not to affect any change, right? Just to sit there and observe at who's dying, how they're dying, and how that the United States military can incorporate that going forward. Again, just think how ridiculous that is. Like they're sitting there eating fucking popcorn with soda, just kind of watching the play-by-play go by as Ukrainians are killed, as Russians lob, drones and missiles into civilian populated areas every single night. They're just like, okay, what can we learn from this? Meanwhile, we're not going to help at all. We're not going to be of any assistance. We're just going to sit there and fucking watch. We're going to be spectators. I just find that to be utterly fucking disgusting and cowardly by this fucking administration, especially with the leadership of Pete Hegseth here. But here's this clip where he's questioned about that $400 million that was approved by Congress nearly 5 months ago.
For Ukraine. So far, your department has not spent a dime of that $400 million, despite repeated follow-up requests from the chairman and myself. In a call just last week, your staff indicated we will see a spend plan for those funds this week. Will you commit to spending those $400 million for weapons for Ukraine? And when will we receive your department's spend plan?
I appreciate that question. The $400 million for European capacity building has been released from the Secretary of War's office, and we'll work with UCOM to make sure they spend it accordingly and properly, which we have all faith that they will.
So again, reading between the lines on that is it's been released from its original place, but basically I've been slow rolling the whole time because I don't find it of value. I don't find it of import in order to release those funds or to utilize those funds in order to send weapons to Ukraine. Basically, all we want to do, we want this engagement to keep going so we can learn more. We want to be able to learn about drones because the Ukrainians are so advanced. They're utilizing drone warfare so fucking so effectively right now to their advantage against the Russians that we're just over there to learn. We don't want to affect any change. We're not over there to be on one side or the other there. We just want to be able to sit there with our binoculars, sitting there with our fucking satellites, looking at what happens on the battlefield, just watching people be killed so that we can learn from those mistakes, so that we can learn from what's taking place on the battlefield there. I find it to be disgusting, especially when you take a look at this next clip here, where he talks about the importance of them sending people over there to watch what takes place and to learn from the knowledge of what the Ukrainians are going through right now, and the struggles that they're facing right now, which is where this knowledge and know-how and technological advancements are coming from. So it's crazy to me that it's like, okay, we're slow rolling the $400 million. We don't want that to go to utilize any assistance, for them to have any assistance from that $4 million. But we are going to send some military, personnel over there to learn from the people that are being killed by these drones. Listen to what he says here.
We've had many senior officials travel there, and we learn a great deal. In fact, I've personally approved additional personnel there to learn from that drone battlefield, both on offense and defense, to ensure that we're learning every possible lesson from that conflict and incorporating it in real time into how we defend and we go on offense in an era where drone dominance is required. And that's why this budget spends so much on drone dominance. Take the lessons learned from Ukraine and other battlefields and ensure we're applying them throughout the fighting force as quickly as possible.
And again, you pair that with some of the previous statements by Pete Hegseth, again, about his, like, I don't give a shit attitude towards Ukraine. I'm happy we're not sending them any weapons directly. We're happy we're not involved in any aid or making sure that we can help or assist them on the battlefield any longer. Like, they're really proud of themselves for removing themselves of that process, removing that step in the process of getting them weapons, getting them aid. But you pair that with what he's now saying here, and the only thing that you can come out with is that they want to see this continue. They are more happy to see this continue so that they can, again, utilize the knowledge that the Ukrainians are fucking bleeding and dying every day to figure out. So that can, so that can happen, so that can take place is wild to me. It's just a crazy fucking assessment, a crazy statement. But again, these people, you just wouldn't put it past them for watching this thing, not wanting to stop it, but making sure that they can utilize all the information that they could possibly be gained from that. Not so they could work, in partnership with, not that they could utilize the alliance between Ukraine and the United States, so that we could take it back to the United States and utilize it for our own selfish purposes. Right? I didn't hear anywhere in that so they could build a strong coalition with Ukraine. We're sending our military personnel over there to work directly with the people of Ukraine so that we could, give them the knowledge that we've learned, and then they could pass on the knowledge that they've learned, and we could utilize that in their fight against Russia. Like, that's usually the rhetoric that would be utilized in a moment like this. Right? You don't hear that coming from Pete Hegseth. None of that. It's more along the lines of, okay, let's just be selfish. We'll go over there. We'll learn some shit. I know they're dying. It's unfortunate, but at least we'll learn some stuff, and we can take that back to the United States military and then utilize that, again, for our own selfish purposes. But, it continues. The theme continues with this asshole, because a lot of people talking about this clip here with cross-eyed Kash Patel as well. So I figured I'd play this one for you, where he's going back and forth with Senator Van Hollen. And again, I'm no lawyer, but I don't know what defamation of character consists of exactly, or how difficult it is to prosecute that. But I know that Kash Patel, under oath, has once again defamed the character of Kilmar Elbrego Garcia, as you'll see here in this clip. So I'll let you look at this back and forth about Kash Patel's drinking, and then the accusations hurled back at Senator Van Hollen by Kash Patel. And again, this is paired up with, you can actually see on the screen here, the setting that Kash Patel is referencing. And as we know, because we covered it on this fucking channel when it happened, the drinks that are absolutely not margaritas. I don't know what kind of fucking alcoholic Kash Patel is, but he's not my kind of alcoholic. I can tell you that much, because if you don't know what a fucking margarita looks like, then I don't want to be anywhere near you. You're clearly not professional enough. You're clearly not, seasoned enough to hang with my crew. But anybody knows, looking at that table, there's not a fucking margarita to be had on that table. Okay, not a single goddamn one. And especially the bartenders in the chat. Shout out the bartenders in the chat, probably the first people to notice it. But just because the state representatives that were in the area decided to go and place these drinks on the table with fucking sugar rings on the sugar rims and cherries and shit like that, doesn't mean that they were sitting there getting boozed up together, right? Again, one of the moments in time where a senator did fucking grab his nuts, did do what he should do, go down there and speak to, Kilmar Abrego Garcia, and to make, to let him know that we had his back and he wasn't going to be forgotten. But they go on here to have a huge fight, a huge bout in Congress about this whole thing. I'll let this play for you.
Multiple reports, including reporting by The Atlantic, have alleged episodes of excessive drinking, unexplained absences, and behavior that concern current and former FBI and DOJ officials. You have publicly denied those allegations and filed a defamation lawsuit. So today, as you testify before Congress, is it your testimony that those allegations are categorically false?
Unequivocally, categorically false.
So there have been no occasions during your tenure when FBI personnel were unable to promptly reach you?
Absolutely not. You can ask my entire workforce. They hear from me at every single hour of the day, as do these great gentlemen here, as do the men and women of the interagency and state and local law enforcement in the White House.
And so there have been no occasions when your security detail had difficulty waking or locating you. Is that right?
Nope, it's a total farce. I don't even know where you get this stuff, but it doesn't make it credible because
just his fucking smug prick-like attitude is telling me that he's lying, right? Like, this is just giving off the vibes of somebody that has been fucking passed out, shit-faced at an important time, at an important moment, where his staff just was banging, pounding on the door like, hey, we got a fucking meeting, boss. Hey, we got somewhere to be. Charlie Kirk was just shot in the fucking face. We might want to get on that, or, whatever other, case that he's fucked up so far since he's been on the job he can speak about. But this is just giving off dickhead vibes. like cocksucker vibes, like I don't give a shit, you're on my time vibes type of people. That's just what it's given to me. I'm just saying. That's my opinion.
As you say so.
I'm not saying it, Director Patel. It's been written and documented.
You are literally saying it.
No, I'm saying that these are reports, Director Patel.
No,
And
unlike
I
your
will
baseless
say,
reports,
Director
the only person
Patel,
that was slinging margaritas in El Salvador on the taxpayer dollar with a convicted gangbanging rapist was you.
You know, the
only
A
person.
convicted gang banging rapist is fucking insane. Is fucking insane. For the actual head of the FBI under oath in Congress to say that about somebody that has never in his entire fucking life been even remotely charged, convicted, accused of anything along those fucking lines, right? I mean, is that any lawyers in the chat? Right? I don't want to, get out ahead of my skis here. I'm no lawyer, obviously, but what are the fucking ramifications? What are the what are the guidelines for Kilmar Albrego Garcia for now to be like lawsuit? You know what I mean? Like fucking this guy better pony the fuck up, right? You can't be saying that shit in front of Congress under oath like that if it ain't true. Am I wrong? Let me know if I'm wrong, because like I said, I'll freely admit I'm no lawyer here, but you guys let me know in the chat what you guys think, because I'd be fucking pissed, right? I mean, even after the treatment that this fucking government has shown him, this is the way that they're gonna fucking repay him afterwards. Is just gonna slander his name. It's just gonna fucking bring up and again defame his character under oath. The head of the FBI? What are we doing here, people? What the fuck is going on?
Bar tab in Washington, D.C. at the lobby bar
to me,
was you.
This
so the only
suggests
individual in
to
this
me
room
the allegations
that has been drinking
are
on
true.
taxpayer dime during
Are
the day
polygraphing
is you.
Director Patel? Come on.
And again, so the baseless claims here of at least this picture we're talking about, and I've seen since, I don't know if it's real, I haven't been able to confirm or corroborate it, but Kash Patel has since posted what looked to be a screenshot of, I don't know if it's like a reimbursement, a letter or an order for reimbursement from Senator Van Hollen's staff. And again, this is just what they're posting. I'm not saying that this is real by any stretch of the imagination or that it's not real. I haven't been able to confirm or deny either way. I'm just telling you what they're posting. That basically stated that there was some, as they put it, a bar tab of over $7,000. And again, I don't know if that's true or not, but that again seems to be irrelevant. That seems to be, kind of a whataboutism, obfuscation, if you will. We're talking about the head of the FBI at this moment in time. I mean, we can talk about, corruption and the usage of fucking taxpayer money by people in Congress all day long, but that's not what this hearing is about, right? So again, the way that they're able to kind of just point in the other direction, much like Pam Bondi, Pete Hegseth always love to do when they're backed into a corner, talk about Joe Biden, talk about Barack Obama, talk about Kamala Harris, talk about anybody that you possibly can. Bring up anything you possibly can about the background or the reports that have gone out there about people asking you questions. That way you can at least attack back, and it kind of, lessens the harm done by their questions or their line of questioning. So that's kind of, it's right in line. But this meeting right here is about the head of the FBI and the reports of you being an absolute fucking drunk, you being untrustworthy, you being unprofessional and unreliable and nowhere near qualified for that position. So can we get on with what this hearing is actually about? That would be fantastic.
These are serious allegations that were made against you. They're in a
allegations
lawsuit
are
that you
false.
filed.
You drinking margaritas with a gangbanger is true and on
it just
video.
goes to show you.
He says it again. He says it twice. You drinking margaritas with a gangbanger, right? But on the face of it, bullshit. Because again, no margaritas in sight in Kilmar Albrego Garcia, not a gangbanger. Right? Not a gangbanger. So false on both accords. Like on both points, you're wrong as far as that's concerned. But like I said, for what it's worth, take it with a grain of salt. The right wing has been heavily posting that screenshot of what is supposed to be allegedly some sort of reimbursement for the hotel bar, lobby bar, or something like that for about $7,100. But I mean, those things are easily concocted. Those things can be easily faked. So like I said, just for the sake of reporting of what they're putting out there, I figured I'd touch base on that as well. But this is one of the main reasons why answers like this, obfuscations like this, reports that you're getting now from Kash Patel and the rest of these fucking incompetent hacks that you're seeing is leading to situations just like this, because this was a Daily Beast report here talking about some of the lowest poll numbers in the history of the fucking polling. right, by Donald Trump. It says CNN data guru, stunned by Trump's unprecedented crisis, worst numbers ever. Right. So again, a lot of what we're seeing now take place and is going to continue to take place, whether it's the rise in cost of goods, the rise in energy prices, the rise in gas prices. Again, no off ramp, no end in sight to the Iran war. And a lot of people are speculating we're kind of in this waiting period now while Donald Trump's in China. And as soon as Donald Trump gets back from China, much like I think Preston brought this up in our conversation this morning. Again, check that out. If you didn't get to check that out, great conversation with Preston Stewart. Actually got a video of his coming up if we get to it, if we leave ourselves enough time tonight. But, a lot of people are speculating that we're just kind of in this like limbo moment, sitting with our thumb up our ass, waiting for the bombs to start dropping again because Trump's in China. And then afterwards, we're all going to have to sit and wait to see what Donald Trump's first like Truth Social post is to see like again where we stand. But more people in some reports to suggest that bombing is more likely than negotiations as far as the next step, considering the F-16s that have been alleged to have been now flown into the Middle East. Of course, we've heard the locked and loaded rhetoric coming from Pete Hegseth, the reports coming from Israel that they have again put together an in-depth target package inside of Iran, above and beyond the target packages that they've already struck. So that tells me that they're not only ready, able, and willing to go back in there with bombing. There's new reports that there are other Gulf partners that have basically engaged in the bombing of Iran. So not just kind of innocent bystanders anymore, not just kind of people with U.S. bases that the U.S. is carrying out this war from, but, actively engaged in the war themselves, which we'll go over. But this is, again, Harry Anton, just a quick clip here, 2 minutes, 55 seconds of some of the worst polling numbers ever. Let me repeat that. Worst numbers ever. And again, it's not really hard to figure out why those numbers are what they are when you look at the reality of the situation. And again, the promises that the American people were told compared to what we're actually now facing in today's reality. So check this out real quick.
We've been talking about inflation. We've been talking about the president's approval on it, which is not good. Our new poll shows that people are very unhappy with the economy, with inflation, with this handling of inflation. On a historical perspective, though, how much don't they like how he's handling inflation?
These are the ugliest numbers I have ever seen on inflation. And it's not just one poll, Johnny Berman. It's many polls. Just take a look here. President's net approval on inflation. The 5 worst polls ever.
And again, we talked about last show, inflation being at its highest level since I think it was about 2023 as reported.
For any president, they all belong to Donald John Trump, and they have all occurred in the last month. The CNN poll, one of them, 48 points below water on the net approval rating. So what we're talking about here is the worst numbers ever in multiple polls now belong to the president of the United States, Donald Trump. It is a record, simply put, you do not want to have.
It's going to be a boom, guys. It's going to be the golden era for the United States, the economic boom that we're going to see. Your energy prices are going to shrink to something so minuscule, you're not even going to notice that they're there. We're going to have no new wars. No new wars, no foreign wars, no forever wars, no regime change wars, none of that. None of that was going to take place. We were going to end all wars. Everything was going to be fucking copacetic. Everything was going to be lovely. Everything was going to be built out of gold and rainbows and fucking horse shit, whatever. No, that's not what's actually taking place. What's actually taking place is the exact and total opposite of all of that. Everything's going up at a rate probably people couldn't calculate or even suspect was going to take place, even under the demented leadership of Donald Trump and his second administration. But as it says here on your screen, president's net approval on inflation, the 5 worst polls ever, all come from Donald Trump in the last month alone. Fuck. Oh, shit. Yeah, things are going well. It's going well. It's going well. Just it's that meme of the character, whatever it is, sitting in the fucking burning house, like everything's on fire, and he's just like, everything's fine, everything's great, don't worry about it. I don't need to leave. I don't need to call 911 at all. We're not really in like a desperate sense, a desperate state right now. We're not in an emergency at all. It's just everything's fine.
The 5 worst polls ever.
5 worst polls ever.
Joe Biden's not in there?
Joe Biden's
Jimmy Carter's not in there?
Jimmy Carter's not in there.
All Donald Trump?
All Donald Trump. The 5 worst ever belong to this gentleman on this side of the screen.
All right. So to what extent are Americans, saying that it's because of Donald Trump that they're seeing these numbers? And how has that sort of changed over time?
Yeah, the reason why the inflation numbers are so bad for Donald Trump in terms of net approval rate is because they are blaming Donald Trump for the high inflation. I mean, just look at this and compare it to term number one. Say Trump's effect on the cost of living now that he has increased it in their communities. We're talking 77% of
Wow, 77% of the people polled said Donald Trump had a direct effect on the cost of living in the area, which is, again, I think low, right? I think it's pretty evident to see, it's blatantly obvious to see why we're seeing the impacts and why we're seeing the problems that we're facing right now. I don't think it's like it hasn't been disguised really well, let's just say. I think we can clearly say that we shot ourselves in the fucking foot on this one. This isn't like some, world problem that happened that we have no ability to mitigate and we didn't see coming and has some huge. No, this was us shooting ourselves in the foot because we have a fucking demented moron as a leader who decided to go along with Benjamin Netanyahu's plan because he's a fucking moron and they're both war criminals, and then to get us involved in this war. And we've seen nothing but chaos, destruction, and problems ever fucking since. Problems that we weren't facing, problems that weren't fucking problems before this war started. Not to say that there weren't problems, not to say that there weren't challenges, not to say that there weren't bad things that needed to be addressed as far as the Iranian regime, because there absolutely were, but none of those things are getting addressed. Okay, none of those things are being mitigated. We are not coming out of this any better off. Iran is not coming out of this any weaker, as we discussed again this morning with Preston. Just, it's not going to happen. I will rightly take the inadequate or the deal that still needed to have some things done or revamped or worked on in the JCPOA far and away more than I'll take any outcome that we're likely to get from Donald Trump's half-assed fucking negotiations or whatever escalations we're likely to see. Okay, because one thing's for damn sure is that the fucking Iranians have a death grip over that Strait of Hormuz. And again, they have the ability to withstand the hurt, the pain put on them by the blockade to a point much greater than anybody had originally, established or originally speculated upon. And again, the hurt that will be put upon us and the world seems to be more of an aspect, more of a problem than the Iranians, again, facing the problems from the blockade. We are likely to see collapse or some sort of fucking riots well before, again, the Iranians have to, capitulate or come to the negotiating table, forced upon by the economic problems created by the blockade or the war in general. That's just kind of what's been out there, what's been reported, as you guys have seen. But this goes on here to say 2024 hurt them during term one, only 40%. So a 37% increase since his first term in the amount of people willing to say that he has a direct effect on the increase in cost of living in their area.
Americans say that Donald Trump has, in fact, increased the cost of living in their community. Promises made by Donald Trump in the minds of the American people are not promises kept by Donald Trump. Because look back in 2024, did the Americans believe that he hurt them when it came to the cost of living in term number one? Just 40% of Americans said that. We now have nearly double that, saying that, in fact, when it comes to the cost of living, that Donald Trump's policies have increased it in their communities. No wonder he has the 5 worst polls on inflation of all time when it comes to net approval rating, because the American people blame the president of the United States for, in fact, the increase in the cost of living.
Now, none of this might matter if people didn't think that prices were a big deal.
Yeah, I mean, yesterday, obviously, Donald Trump had that, little press conference, that the little huddle going on outside in which he essentially said when it came to Iran, the financial concerns aren't for me, right? It's not something I'm thinking about. Well, for the American people, they are absolutely thinking about economy and the cost of living, and they are thinking at it.
Well, it's the economy, stupid, right? I mean, that's what everybody knows. You don't have to be really politically involved at all, really, to understand that cost of living, what people are paying at the pump, what people are paying for rent, what people are paying for goods, groceries, clothes, etc., is kind of a huge issue. Is going to be tops. Is going to be foremost on the minds of the American people. Like, it doesn't take a genius, right? You don't have to be some fucking national scholar to figure out that that's going to be an issue. But even now, it says in January of 2026, the economy obviously being a top issue, cost of living being a top issue, was at 42% per this poll, now at 55%. So even a 13% increase since the last time that people were questioned. I think it said that was April 30th to May 4th in 2026. That says January 2026. So, go figure. But anyway, you can see the dramatic rise in people. It says majorities of lean Dem and lean GOP underneath. I'm not sure what that means as it pertains to that specific polling number, but you can see how many people here say that the cost of living in the economy is the top issue. And as that grows, and again, as the cost of living grows, that's going to be a huge fucking problem for the GOP. Obviously, something Donald Trump doesn't give a shit about, but people that want to get reelected, both, whether it's federally, statewide or in their local elections, are definitely going to have to respond to these answers. And again, when you have shit like this, when you have statements like this by Donald Trump basically stating that he doesn't give a shit at all what the American people are feeling, right? Just in case you joined us late.
Negotiating with Iran, Mr. President, to what extent are Americans' financial situations motivating you to make a deal?
Not even a little bit. The only thing that matters when I'm talking about Iran, they can't have a nuclear weapon. I don't think about Americans' financial situation. I don't think about anybody.
I don't think about Americans' financial situation. I don't think about anything, right? But again, the American people are saying a completely different thing. That is, again, continuously the top issue in their lives, the thing that they're most focused upon, and people, the thing that they're most likely to get out and vote because of, if they're feeling that pinch, if they're feeling that economic fucking, problems that have been created by this administration, they're more and more likely to get out there and get their ass to vote, even if they weren't out there voting beforehand, right? Much like the woman in, I believe it was Pennsylvania, that we continue to reference, that couldn't fill her fucking gas tank, didn't have enough money to fill her Toyota Corolla, and that all of a sudden, brought Jesus down from the fucking heavens and brought the sunshine on her face and made her realize that she's been lied to by the Trump administration for the last 11 years. Again, as we say, it wasn't January 6th, it wasn't the grab him by the pussy, it wasn't the 34 felonies, it wasn't the banging a fucking a porn star 5 months after his wife gave birth to his son. It wasn't all the racist, bigoted, hateful shit that he said. It wasn't, the reciting of Mein Kampf, or, talking about poisoning the blood of our people, which stems right from the fascist rhetoric of the Nazis. None of that shit. But, the moment she couldn't fill her fucking Toyota Corolla with enough fucking gas, that's the moment that, again, the angels came down from the heavens and decided to smack her across the face and be like, wake up, bitch. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's just, no sympathy, no empathy for the people. But those are the same people that we're talking about here that are now saying, hey, not only are we waking up to the fact that, energy costs haven't gone down 50%, none of these wars have been ended. You lied to us about not starting new wars. But obviously, they'd be more likely to put up with that bullshit. His foreign geopolitical bullshit. If in fact their lives were being made easier here, if things were getting cheaper, people would be more likely to put up with the bullshit. But that's obviously not what we're seeing. So less and less people likely to put up with the bullshit that's going on around the world at the hands of Donald Trump. But it's not really difficult to see why he's got polling numbers like this. When you look at what he's posting on his Truth Social, oh, motherfucker. If I have to go back and find this and scroll through this fucking asshole's site to find this, and it doesn't bring me right back to it, I'm going to snap. Come on. Oh, okay. All right. I'm going to snap. All right. We're snapping. So I'll talk amongst yourselves as I go back and find the post on this shit site that, again, every 13 seconds makes you report that you're not a bot. Meanwhile, there's more bots and fucking foreign actors on this on this site than any site else. But all right, let me go back here because this is worth talking about, the insanity of what he's posting. Again, this is kind of along the same lines here, right? Hakeem Jeffries standing in what looks to be a bunch of money, and I'm assuming that's his district depicted in trash and rubble. JB Pritzker eating food and being gluttonous as Donald Trump likes to, and then he's posted himself on the $100 bill. Here's some stupid, inaccurate representation, and then there's Obama and Biden and Pelosi swimming in sewage. I mean, the shit the guy's posting is just absolutely fucking insane. But let me get to at least the racist part, the racist section of Donald Trump's Truth Social account here. I don't think it's too far down here. Let's see here, because he's just posting random. Here's another one. Here's just a random fucking video. The president of the United States is reposting on his Truth Social. Man caught on camera purposely knocking over Miami restaurant service tray. I mean, a lot of people are talking about the blatant murder video he posted on his social media site. I think, what was that, a couple weeks ago? There's another one here as well. Here's the one that I was talking about. This is a post, again, somebody else on Truth Social posted, "Always scheming." Okay, that's the headline. That's the title. That's the caption to this by whoever Donald Trump reposted here, Kitten Waffen. whatever the fuck that is. I'm sure Waffen is probably Waffen SS is the first thing that comes to my mind, but you guys can be the judge of that. But it says always scheming, and this is what he's posting. It's the DoorDasher that cancels the order just to keep the food. Now we'll play this video, and you tell me why in the motherfuck the president of the United States is posting this, other than the fact that he's a racist, bigoted piece of shit, and he's trying to get a clear message across, especially when you look at the title here where it says always scheming. Okay, check this out. This is, again, posted by Donald Trump, reposted to his True Social, the president of the United States.
Oh, yes, ma'am. What's the order, ma'am? Ricky. Oh, Ricky. Which one was the order, ma'am? Thank you, everyone. Oh, my God.
What? What's wrong?
The order just canceled. I think the customer just canceled the order.
Girl, you would. Hold on, let me see.
Here you go.
She canceled the order.
Who did that?
Oh. Do you see her? Where did she go?
Oh, she's right by you. I think she just left.
Oh, no, I'm tired of this. Oh, no, I'm tired of this. Every time I turn around. This her? Yeah, this her. Can I help you? Ma'am, why did you just cancel that order?
What are you talking about?
Oh, my God. Oh, my God, girl, yes. I am recording you because, for one, you just got through taking the order and you sit up there and you in here eating up people's food.
So again, just a blatant direct message here as posted by Donald Trump to his True Social of just some random alleged account of a DoorDash worker allegedly accused of canceling an order so that they could consume the order themselves. What other purpose do you see the president of the United States have posting this besides to negatively depict African Americans? Other than that, what is the purpose? Please, anybody, any maggots in the chat, right? Anybody, any conservatives, any Republicans in the chat could give me some sort of excuse, give me some sort of reasoning as to why Donald Trump has multiple of these posted, just random, nonsensical, don't have any fucking meaning from random parts of the country, just to kind of show black people in a bad light, right? And again, not really taken into account, and I may be mistaken here, but it looked to me like in the window in the reflection that it was an actual black woman that went out there to confront these people. So again, where is the through line? Where's the consistency in the reporting, or are you putting that out there, for the purposes that they put it out there? It doesn't really make sense to me. But again, there's only one reason why anybody, especially the president, would put always scheming and then again have it reposted by the president of the United States on his own True Social account here, which is just, again, to portray African Americans and to portray black people as, again, quote unquote, always scheming, which is again just beyond the pale, obviously, and can't be normalized by any degree, being posted by the president of the United States, but the same thing that continuously is normalized by these assholes. But just to show you kind of why Donald Trump is feeling and facing some of the worst polling numbers that this country has ever seen, especially on inflation, cost of living, when he's got statements like, I don't give a shit about the fucking American people and the pain that they're feeling right now. He's kind of laser focused on one thing. Doesn't matter how much you have to pay at the pump. Doesn't matter how much you're losing as far as your weekly or monthly pay to, again, the increased cost that you have to face right now. He doesn't give a shit. He's got fucking billions to spend. He's got a bunch of these frauds going on that he's raking in billions from. He's spending buku dollars, American taxpayer dollars on these ridiculous fucking projects that he's got going on that nobody fucking asked for and nobody wants to see, and hopefully will be fucking pissed on, tore down, or burnt down as soon as they get fucking put up, in my opinion. But what are you going to do? But here we go. There's a few of these. Let's get into kind of the fun portion, if you will, of this, segment of the show, because we got a few of these Lego videos to dive into. I know you guys have, these are fan favorites. You guys have really liked these, as have I. I'm not going to front. I won't front. I have found some definite pleasure, entertainment, and value in watching these. So, but again, there's so much going on out there. There's so many of these being put out there that we're kind of at a backlog at this point. We kind of got like a Lego video overload to get through. So there's 3 of them that I got pulled up here from Persia Boy, and I think a couple other different accounts as well. Some of them already talking about Donald Trump's trip to China, the failed deal with Iran, as we talked about. And I think this one is talking about the the CIA plot plan in 1953 to overthrow the leader of Iran, which is, again, historical fact and something that a lot of people probably don't know, aren't kind of, privy to the information, don't know that that was something that actually took place. So again, factual, insightful, giving you information. A lot of these things, kind of represented in these Lego videos, which is why I refuse to call it propaganda. Again, it's more enlightenment more than it's propaganda. So just to kind of get into a few of these, we got 3 of them, I think, to get into. This one here is from the OG, as far as I'm concerned, Persia Boy Hemat, and this is 1953. They stole our democracy. CIA and MI6 overthrew Mogadeh and installed a puppet king. This is your history lesson. We remember, we never forget. Sacred defense. So let's see what trouble we can get into by listening to these.
Yeah. 1953. They stole our democracy. Take it back, take it back, take it back. You overthrew Mossadegh, put the Shah on our back, stole our oil, trained your dogs to attack, but in 70 hours we rose up and took it back. 1953, CIA and MI6 made the plan, overthrew our elected leader, Mossadegh the man. He said the oil belongs to Iran, not to the West. So they paid the general, staged the coup d'etat, and did the rest. Installed the Shah like a puppet on a golden throne. Savak torture chambers, people dying alone. Decades of repression, foreign boots on our neck, but the fire in our hearts never once left. Take it back, take it back, take it back. You overthrew Mossadegh, put the Shah on our back, stole our oil, trained your dogs to attack, but in 79 we rose up and took it back. The people marched in the streets, million strong, shouted down the tanks, proved the Shah was wrong. They tried to stop us with bullets, with fear, with lies, but the revolution burned brighter in our eyes. We kicked out the Shah, we kicked out the throne, told the foreigners this land is our own. From the ashes of the coup d'etat, a new nation was born, independent, defiant, standing tall to the dawn. Now they're back again with new tricks, same old lies, talking peace at the table while they're sharpening their knives. They on the chaos, then cry about the cost.
Talking peace at the table while they sharpen their knives, I think directly reflecting the fact that they were engaged in negotiations, they were engaged in talks as the United States and Israel decided to engage in this war in the first place. You could actually see in one of the previous clips, they were having kind of a discussion, it looked like in a boardroom, and there was somebody kind of sharpening a knife under the table. So, kind of, hitting on all of these things that we've seen reported that we know have actually happened. So again, if anybody can point out any lies, misrepresentations in this, throw it in the chat. I'll be happy to listen.
But we've been burned before, we know what they lost. 90 million strong, lessons carved in our bone. You can try the same game, but we've already grown. Every time you push, we only rise taller. History taught us well, we will never fall, brother. Sacred defense. We took it back once, we'll take it back again. Yeah.
And again, that one about the 53 CIA MI6 plot to overthrow Mossadegh, and the the history behind that as well by Persia Boy. There's another one here. This one, what's this one about? I forget now. This one is Epstein's. Oh, this one's a brutal one. Holy shit, this one's a pretty brutal one. I think we missed this. This is from, I want to say about a week ago. This was put out by AI Iran, one of the other accounts that are, kind of steadily putting out these Lego videos as well. But this one's brutal. Again, Donald Trump depicted in a diaper, definitely going at him heavy for the Epstein files. And my apologies. I know we've gone through a bunch of these. If we've already played 1 or 2 of these, my mistake. But again, I think they're juicy enough where we could go through them again, and they bang enough where we could go through them again and not have too much of an issue. So again, this is titled Epstein Ska. And Ska, I think I remember now not being able to say Ska, but I think this is probably good enough to go through once again. Again, Donald Trump in the diaper, Epstein files in front of him being questioned by 60 Minutes. What do you say we dive into this one once again? We got another one here. What's this other one about too? Oh yeah, this one is the dirty deal exposed. That's going to be a good one as well. So stay tuned, stick with me, hit that like button. Here are the Epstein scars about the Epstein files and Donald Trump's involvement with a diaper on already.
You said you ain't no pedophile, but bitch, you are. They tell them worldwide for that Epstein scar, but you still the prez, man, this shit's bizarre. You said you ain't no pedophile, but bitch, you are. The whole world knows that you perverted rapist star. 30 years since and we build different, we don't break. Your people see $5 gas and your whole country shakes. This ain't Call of Duty, these mountains, these troops alive, we are waiting for them. Come test it, no survivors. If they wanna die for Epstein's list of Netanyahu's war, we got the welcome ready, body bag stacked at the door. You can't for war, but got cooked instead.
Yeah, I remember now. I think we did play this one before, but like I said, it's good enough to go through it again.
Body back stacked at the door.
The fact that they got Trump on the rotisserie, I think, kind of just is good enough in and of itself to watch more than once. So well, that's why we do it.
For war, but got cooked instead. Iran flipped the script, left your whole team dead. You came for war, but got cooked instead. Weakest president ever, take that L and quit.
He came for war, but got cooked instead. Oh man, they're catchy.
Bitch. Go fetch Epstein's house, go fetch your lobby. This ain't a desert skirmish, this ain't your hobby. No points in these talks, cause the president of the United States of America is a fucking pedophile. You thought you could hide, but we kept the file. Cause the president of the United States of America is a fucking pedophile. F5 ghosted your base, Kuwait smoke, don't jet back home, legend mode, shoot
Like
drones.
I do remember that one now, so we don't want subject it to all of those again. But this one is a pretty good one here. I don't think we've seen this one yet. There's another one here, and this is Flow, Lego, and Military Lego AI. I don't know if this is like in conjunction. We're doing like collaborations now between the AI accounts that are doing the Lego videos. But I'm curious. This one already detailing Donald Trump's trip to to China. So again, they're really quick on these. Let's see what this one is about, titled Dirty Deal. Again, about Donald Trump and being in China to meet with Xi Jinping.
Donnie's looking for a way to make a dirty deal, dirty deal. With all this trash, is Israel first, not America first. Dirty deal, dirty deal. He went to China trying to hustle for a dry deal, dry deal. But they're too smart to sign up for his dirty deal, dirty deal, dirty deal. Yeah. Trump flew to Beijing, thought he charmed the dragon's lair. Suitcase full of promises, but shot just stared. Sorry, Don, we don't do business with a sinking ship. Your empire's leaking oil. Watch the ruble and the yuan grip. You traded Taiwan for repair, so Ukraine down the road. Now China's brokering peace in Tehran. That's their heavy load. You came to make a dirty deal, but they wrote a cleaner one. Now your legacy's a footnote. Congratulations, you're done. Donnie's looking for a way to make a dirty deal, dirty deal. With all this trash.
I love these so much. I really do. I don't know if it's healthy. I don't care. I really don't care. I love them. I love them a lot. I like it a lot.
She's Israel first, not America first. Dirty deal, dirty deal. He went to China trying to hustle for a dry deal, dry deal. But they're too smart to sign up for his dirty deal, dirty deal. Yeah, dirty deal. Yeah, Iran holds the strait. The key's not in your hand. 10 weeks of blockade didn't go as planned. Hormuz is a fortress. Oil at 27 a barrel. Your voters at the pump feel the pain in the quarrel. You thought you bombing missiles, now what 20% remain. Your generals lied to you. That's the truth, not a campaign. Every dirty deal you cut with BB and the crew just made the resistance stronger. What's a loser to do? Australia walked away. Germany stopped the guns. The only ally left is Israel. Look at what you become. A beggar with a tweet, a puppet with a phone. You're America first. It's just Israel first. Now you're all alone. Billions burned in sand. Inflation through the roof. Your own think tanks admit the war has been a goof. You went to Beijing for a dry deal. Came back dry. The dragon doesn't bargain with a loser who can't fly. Mommy's looking for a way to make a dirty deal. Dirty deal. The world just turned the page. That's the final seal. Mommy's looking for a way to make a dirty deal. Dirty deal.
God, I love them. I'm telling you, they're catchy. They got good beats. They're getting better and better with each one of these. And again, they come out fucking really quick as far as, when the news reports come out. Anything that's announced, anything that's reported out there is quickly put into Lego form by all of these different accounts and put out there. But as it pertains to kind of some updates here with the Iran war and what's taking place, let's see if we can dive into this next clip here by our main man, Preston Stewart. Again, shout out to Preston. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day, joining us this morning. Once again, if you didn't check out the conversation this morning that we had, go back, check that out whenever you get the time. Very much appreciate it if you could leave a comment, share that conversation out as well. But here's just titled, "The Iran War Just Expanded." So I just want to see if we can get any further updates, information on what may have been taking place. Let's see if we can dive into this again. Preston Stewart, shout out to you, and appreciate you. See if you can subscribe to the channel. Like that, hit that like button. My name is Brian. This is Blunt Politics, and I do appreciate you again. Just some updates on what's taking place in Ukraine, in Iran, and if we could, expect escalations before negotiations.
All right, what's going on, everyone? So quick Iran war update here, and it's a wild one. I mean, bottom line up front, the war is expanding. We've got new participants, new belligerents in the war. For one, the IRGC just tried to carry out a naval operation inside Kuwaiti territory, and the Kuwaitis captured 4 of those sailors. They have their names and ranks listed. And one Kuwaiti service member wounded in exchange of fire. That seems pretty significant. On top of that, same time, in the last 24 hours, we've got our first reports that Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates carried out airstrikes inside of Iran over the course of the last month. Those 2 countries are now active participants in this conflict.
So again, no longer just innocent bystanders that just happen to have a U.S. base. Now, if this shit kicks back off, and we're already seeing different, drone nets, different, mitigatory resources put up all over the oil refineries and different, oil tanks and storage tanks, so that they don't get hit by drones. Much, looking a lot like we're going to see escalation, much like we're going to see the war kick back off, much like it was when we were seeing strikes both inside the Middle East, inside of our, Gulf allies, and inside of Iran. That looks to be like where we're heading. A lot of people have again now put up different photos and videos of, like I said, these different, drone protecting systems around these storage facilities in and around the Middle East and in a few of these different nations here that look like they're ready for this thing to kick back off. And again, now they're not going to have this like, okay, we didn't shoot anybody. We weren't involved in the war, really. We just happen to have a U.S. base. They don't have that kind of disassociation now to rely on. They're going to get targeted just like everybody else. Not that they weren't before, but they're going to have kind of no mercy now as it pertains to the Iranian side and the people that, again, now have been reported to have been lobbing missiles and drones at the Iranians themselves.
Just on the receiving end and shooting down Iranian drones and missiles, but actively carrying out strikes inside of Iran. There's a lot of different directions this can go. So, of course, we're going to get into what we know as of right now and then what to watch for going forward. Starting with the IRGC naval officers captured by Kuwait, the Kuwaiti Ministry of the Interior yesterday put out a note saying they captured 4 of these infiltrators, and then through interrogation, quote, they confessed to being tasked with infiltrating Bubiyan Island aboard a fishing boat rented specifically to carry out hostile acts against Kuwait. They clashed with Kuwaiti armed forces, resulting in the injury of one of its members and the escape of 2 of the infiltration elements. Pull up a map here to show you the area we're talking about. This is live UA map. We've got Iran right now in the middle of the screen.
So again, if these reports are true, if these reports are confirmed, then it looks a lot like that Iran isn't been eradicated of all of their capabilities. Again, if we're talking about the IRGC now going into different Kuwaiti water space there and to try to, either, land on some island as he's talking about here. Obviously, they seem to be unsuccessful as the reporting states here, but, it goes to show that they still have the resources and the ability to do these things. Whether or not they have the, the efficacy and whether or not they have the training and the strategy to pull off whatever the missions are is another question. But they do still have, the boats in place, the resources in place to at least launch these attacks, launch these missions. And this looks like, again, people preparing for, trying to get the upper hand when, again, this thing escalates, when this thing kicks back off, is what this is telling me. Much per the, there was another report here. So if I can pull this one up. Because this was it this one? No, it was this one. No, it was this one. No, where the hell did it go? I think it was, my apologies. Let me pull this one up. Not that one. Was it this one? No, it wasn't that one. Jesus Christ. I have way too much stuff pulled up to show you. Oh, it's this one right here. My apologies. So just the beginning of this should tell you kind of everything that you need to know. Again, this says U.S. fighter jets deployed near Iranian war zone, as well as Iran evacuating ships from Karg Island. We can dive into the second half of this as we go through this, but at least the first half, talking about the possible F-16s that have been brought in, which again is looking like we're going to see escalation sometime in the near future. But I'll let this play real quick too.
All right, good evening, folks. It's Enforcer Matt, and welcome back to another short war video. And today we have more major developments in Iran, Russia, and Ukraine. So let's jump right into it. This morning, a major U.S. military airlift has resumed to the Middle East as satellite footage reveals that more F-16 fighter jets have arrived at the Prince Sultan Air Base in Saudi Arabia, which seems to suggest preparations for new strikes on Iran. We've also seen another interesting sign.
I'll even skip forward here to where he shows the satellite imagery of that real quick. Was it this one right here? Yeah, here we go, right here.
Of Russia, but let's jump right into our first article, which goes to Raylon Givens. And right now, this is our biggest story of the day. We are getting word right now that apparently there are more F-16 fighter jets arriving in the Middle East, and specifically at the Prince Sultan Air Base in Saudi Arabia. And according to Raylon, about 15 F-16s just arrived at that air base in Saudi Arabia. The number of U.S. F-16s at that base now currently stands at 53. And also, in addition to that, other sources are now reporting that there's been training sorties by U.S. Air Force B-1B strategic bombers over the skies of the Eastern Mediterranean. So as you can see right here in our first image, this apparently is an image of the Prince Sultan Air Base right here from satellite. And you can see right there, there are a bunch of smaller aircraft that have suddenly arrived on the tarmac.
So I know it's a little blurry, a little hard to see from it being so zoomed in, but I'm believing that they're talking about either some, if not all, of these little smaller black specks you can see on your screen as being those suspected F-16s that have been flown into. But again, if this reporting is correct, if this is accurate, this isn't showing de-escalation. This isn't showing, a willingness to negotiate or come out of this with some sort of peace deal or peace agreement. Before, the bombs start dropping again. This is telling us that it's likely that we're to see some sort of escalations in the near future, as I continue to say here. And this is just kind of some of the reporting going to suggest that as well.
Here, or I guess you could say the side part of the airbase itself. And you see right there, there's a whole bunch of them. And it's believed to be, that is the 15 new F-16s that have arrived here at this airbase. So that's a pretty big detail right there, of course. And that does suggest that it looks like the offensive operations are about to get right back into full swing. But not only
again, there's more to come from that video. I just kind of wanted to touch on that aspect of it while we were talking about Preston's video here. But similar things that we're looking at as far as escalation before negotiation and how this kind of war is expanding now. We're kind of seeing different partners and players that have been reported to be effective and engaged in the war themselves, rather than just having defensive bases or defensive posture in this. They're engaged in the offensive nature of this war, and again, that's not going to be taken lightly by the Iranians.
Just to the southwest of that is the Persian Gulf. So as we zoom in here, Kuwait, Iraq, and Bubiyan Island are all in the northwestern portion of the Persian Gulf. You can see where some challenges come in here, where staying zoomed out here, we've got Iran, then Iraq, and then Kuwait in a very small area, so relatively congested. But Bubiyan Island is this big one right here. It's right off the coast of Kuwait. It's significant. This isn't like some small island out in the middle of the Persian Gulf. It's a pretty decent sized landmass, again, with a bridge attaching it to mainland Kuwait. Now, not heavily populated, got Google Maps here, but nonetheless, pretty significant that it is right there off the coast of Kuwait. So this is the island where Kuwait says they were able to capture 4 Iranian infiltrators. Al Jazeera, with some reporting here, says, quote, the ministry identified the group members as 2 colonels, a captain, and a first lieutenant. Real quick on that, they gave the names and the ranks of all 4 that were captured. I'm not going to read the names because, one, I would butcher the pronunciation without a doubt.
So again, kind of leading to the fact that this did in fact happen, leading to, kind of the confirmation that this did in fact happen, if they're going as far as to have the, the names and the ranks of the people that they caught in the suspected attack or this is suspected incursion, whatever you want to call it. But again, this is just showing that, things haven't slowed down. Iran hasn't kind of backed off of their, defensive posture, their defiance in this whole situation. And clearly now this thing is expanding as we continue to talk about the fact that we're just kind of sitting there twiddling our thumbs, waiting for this war to continue, waiting for the prices to continue rising as far as that's concerned, while Donald Trump's in China. But, moving on just for a second, to Donald Trump's propagandist here, Benny Johnson Propaganda, the show. He's doing his best here to kind of bullshit about the importance and kind of the response that was given here by Donald Trump on his trip to China. So he kind of put something out on Twitter, immediately got hit with a, what is it called? A community note in this, and actually goes on to be, stupid enough to then post that same community note on his tweet that he posted out there on on the video that he posted. But this is, again, the difference. He posted this video. The difference in how China welcomes Trump to how they welcomed Obama is insane. So let's just call out the little piece of bullshit that he's putting into this, and kind of how he's trying to spin this and propagandize this for this administration, and kind of how he's lying to his audience like he always does. Check this out.
I love how libtards are always going on and on about how we're not respected in the world anymore, but then have no answer for videos like this.
Because we're not respected on the world stage. That's because you could bring up, data piece after data set after data set after data set that proves that the trust, the respect on the world stage for the United States goes down dramatically anytime Donald Trump's in office, right? I think that's pretty well proven, pretty well stated at this point in time. But Benny Johnson's going to try to look like Obama wasn't well received when he went to China, and Donald Trump was. Meanwhile, there's a little bit of a discrepancy here in what he's posting. So let's see if you guys can catch it.
Here's a banger that we put up just a few minutes ago. And would you look at this? Oh, it's got a community note on it, huh? It's got 10,000.
I don't know. Did he not notice that beforehand, right? Does his producers or whoever helps him set up the show really not tell him that the post that they had just put up there had already a community notes on there calling out the bullshit? And the community notes reads this: the video shown of Obama comes from a G20 visit, while the video of Trump is from a singular state visit. In a solo state visit by Obama to China in 2014, a red carpet was rolled out for him. So basically, Benny Johnson's trying to portray this G20 summit visit by Obama to China and the reception that he got there as being the solo state visit like response that Donald Trump received in his state visit here to China on his recent trip. Again, trying to say that one is respected more than the other. Meanwhile, the two things are not comparable. The two trips were not the same. One is for a different circumstance. One is for a different occasion. And the other pomp and circumstance is not really warranted as far as the G20 visit is concerned. But he goes on here to try to, even with the community notes, try to play this video to his audience like it's truthful, like it's fact.
Repost, 2.1 million views, 58,000 likes. Here is Barack Obama arriving in China. Let's see the community note. It is actually from China. Dirtbag.
What he takes the second. He takes the second to go down and actually say, okay, let's read the community notes. Okay, did he read the community note to his audience? No, he didn't. What did he say? No, it's actually in China. Meanwhile, it says nothing about that not being from China, right? Doesn't say that it's not in China. Doesn't say that this was from a different Obama trip. Doesn't say it was from a different Trump trip at all. Basically just states that one's from a G20 visit. The other one is from a singular state visit where the president is the main attraction, is the main feature, as opposed to, again, the G20 where there are other nations involved, other leaders involved in that regard. So, again, he still goes on here to show it, but not read it in totality, but still goes on to play the video here.
They're like, it was a G20 visit. It's totally different. Obama was in China in 2014. Obama.
Yeah, again, it makes a big difference if you read it with a funny voice. I guess that makes it not true. And again, it takes about 13 seconds. It took me about 13 seconds to pull this up, guys, okay? This is ABC News. President Obama arrives in China from 11 years ago, okay? When was this posted? The exact date was November 10th, 2014. This is posted. Again, took me about 13 seconds to pull this up. Check this out.
We begin this half hour with President Obama and his efforts to strengthen economic ties with Asia. The president is in China for a high-level summit.
ABC's Mary Bruce is traveling with the president, and she joins us this morning from Beijing. Mary?
Good morning, Ty. Good morning, TJ. Or I guess I should say good afternoon from here in Beijing. President Obama touched down here last night, kicking off a dizzying week of summit meetings here in Asia.
Would you look at that? Would you look at that? As Benny would have you believe, because Benny Johnson post, and I'll put Benny Johnson's post on there so you can read it real quick. This is what Benny Johnson posted. Oh, quick. I can't even get the whole thing up there. Does he get the whole post in there real quick? Let me see. I think right here. So he says, when Obama visited China, he was forced to exit off the ass of the Air Force One, because they didn't even give him stairs, right? He says Trump just got a red carpet, hero's welcome with 300 students waving flags and chanting. It feels good to be respected on the world stage again. Again, not accurately portraying the visit or what it was for. But again, if we go over to this real quick, let's just take a look. Does this look like on Obama's, again, state visit? to China in which he was the main focus. Does it look like they didn't set up the stairs for him? Does it look like he's getting out of the ass of Air Force One, or is he getting out of the door that everybody else uses with the steps put in place? And then we'll continue and look at the reception that he got, and we can talk about Benny Johnson's video.
Now the president, of course, coming off those bruising midterm losses, is trying to shift.
Well, I mean, those look like stairs to me. I'm just saying those look like red carpet laced stairs put up there for Obama. And then it looks like he's got even a military reception here. If we continue,
focus to foreign policy. You know, it's just been 3 years since the Obama administration announced it would pivot its.
So we got a military reception. What's that look like to you guys? Looks like a red carpet, right? With a Chinese police escort, a lot of officials standing around. You can see just above my finger here. People, security guards standing at attention, clearly not coming out of the ass of Air Force One. So again, a clear misrepresentation here by Benny Johnson to try to obfuscate, to try to propagandize his audience into believing that, Donald Trump is somehow more respected on the world stage than Barack Obama was because of, this reception. And again, Donald Trump's reception was a bunch of kids waving flags. Again, would you rather the military reception? Is it more of a sign of respect to have a military reception, or is it more like, a sign of respect to have a bunch of kids sitting there waving flags? I'll let you be the judge. But we'll go on here to where he actually plays. Does he actually play the video? I'm not sure.
Totally different. Obama was in China in 2014. Obama going to China, and he doesn't even get the stairs. Obama has to exit Air Force One. Derpy community knows. He has to exit Air Force One off the ass of the plane. And that's not me saying it. That's the Guardian, left-wing Guardian saying this. Barack Obama forced to exit from ass of Air Force One video. Look at this. Leaders of the world's largest economy disembarked Air Force One through a little-used exit in the plane's belly after no rolling staircase was provided when he landed in the Chinese city of Zhangzhou in the G20.
Again, you just read it yourself that it was for the G20 and not his state solo visit, right? So the way they're trying to portray this, and who knows what the fuck the reasoning was, right? Was the fucking, were the stairs broken, right? Did they have a malfunction? I don't think it was a huge deal that he had to, exit the aircraft from a different exit that is, easily fucking exited off of, at that point. Comes with its own stairs, so I don't think that's a huge thing. He was welcomed by people, as you saw, even in that state visit, even in the G20 visit. So, again, the ridiculousness of being like, well, you had to come off the secondary exit, even though this isn't like a comparative trip that they were taking here, and the representation and the reception that they got, it's just, again, right in line with Benny Johnson and the propaganda that they spew. So, I just figured I'd throw that one out there, and because that was easily called out, as soon as you saw it, and as soon as you saw that he had a community notes, you knew that he was kind of screwed in that regard. But he just kind of, again, tries to fall back on the reporting there and be like, well, I told you I was right. They said ass. I love ass. I want ass. So that's what his reporting consists of, as far as that's concerned. This was kind of concerning as well. Speaking of concerning. This was posted by Defense Index, right? And it says twice in 48 hours. And I meant to bring this up with Preston this morning. I'm kind of pissed that I forgot to bring this up. But twice in 48 hours, Austria scrambles Eurofighter jets after U.S. aircraft breaches airspace. Austria was forced to scramble its Eurofighter jets twice in just 2 days after a Pilatus PC-12 operated by the United States Air Force entered Austrian airspace without permission. On Sunday, the aircraft turned back towards Munich after being intercepted by Austrian fighters, according to reports. The repeated incursions have triggered diplomatic engagement between the two sides. And again, here it looks to be, I don't know if this is a video, just a generic video of the Euro Typhoon fighter, or if this is actual video from that. It looks to be just kind of generic video of the Typhoon there. But again, I found that to be kind of wild and out of left field, as it were. Why would the United States be penetrating Austria's airspace there with Pilatus PC-12 aircraft, in multiple days and multiple engagements there? Again, they're putting pressure on NATO. Are they trying to send a signal to NATO? What the hell is going on? Here's another story that I wanted to touch on as well. We've been continuously talking about the kinetic sanctions by Ukraine and how effective they've been, whether you're talking about Primorsk or Ust-Luga, or whether you're talking about the Tuops refinery, or we're talking about here the Perm refinery. Well, apparently we're seeing some large effects of the Ukrainians' kinetic sanctions once again. This says Russian refinery in Perm completely halts operations following Ukrainian drone attacks. And again, the last time I think it was struck about maybe 2 or 3 days ago, if I'm not mistaken at this point. The facility in question is the Perm Naftogazets refinery, which belongs to Luke Oil and is Russia's 7th largest oil refinery in 2024. The company processed approximately 12.6 million tons of crude oil. And again, here was some of the footage coming from those strikes, and I'd love to kind of revel in this as much as possible, too. I mean, that is a fucking monstrous fire. A monstrous fire. Look at the flames. Like the smoke, I understand getting that high, but the flames are fucking several hundred feet high. So again, showing and proving the inability that the Russians have to mitigate the damages, coming from these strikes here from the Ukrainian side as well. We've seen that in multiple instances there, but, to report on the fact that, they're consistently able to hit these places and that they're having a consistent effect on the ability to produce or to sell the oil and to, again, profit off that and use those profits to continue to the war effort is a good thing for the Ukrainians. But I did want to dive back into this other quick aspect. Gives also a couple quick updates about what's going on in Ukraine, as well as the Strait of Hormuz. We touched base on the F-16s as well. So sorry if that repeats that, but let's see what else we can gather from this news update on what's been taking place. Again, more heavily focused on the war in Iran and obviously the full-scale invasion of Ukraine. So let's see if we can touch base on this again.
More F-16 fighter jets have arrived at the Prince Sultan Air Base in Saudi Arabia, which seems to suggest preparations for new strikes on Iran. We've also seen another interesting sign that the UAE is now urgently installing massive drone defenses around their oil storage tanks, as images show large steel structures being built at several different sites.
So that's the reporting that I was talking about, suggesting, and they even have, and I'll pull this up real quick. Here's the footage coming in. This is posted, looks like, by the Clash report. You can see above my head here. It says the UAE is now building what looks to say anti-drone defenses around oil storage facilities. Not cheap netting. Right, this isn't, as you're looking at here, this isn't to stop like the small FPV drones, and you'll go on to hear this in the reporting that we'll play in the video. But
structures
this is to,
and that are very strong, actually.
This is to stop like pretty substantial medium to long range drones, as it were. There looks to be some steel structures being placed up around the refineries there, the oil storage facilities. Again, showing us a likely, the likelihood of this escalating again, or at least the UAE's thoughts and their intelligence and what they're telling them as far as this kind of kicking back off, and what air defenses and what defenses they need to have in place for when it does kick back off. This isn't really a good look. You know what I mean? This isn't giving us good vibes, as it were, for negotiations and not seeing this thing escalate. The F-16s in place now, all of these drone defenses going up for possible strikes to come is again not giving us hope at all. So let me just go back here to this part here.
On the tarmac here, or I guess you could say the side part of the airbase itself. And you can see right there's a whole bunch of them. And it's believed to be that is the 15 new F-16s that have suggest that it looks
skip through this real
they
quick.
are preparing for new operations on Iran. And right now it's simply a waiting game. We do know today that apparently the U.S. president is now in Beijing. He is going to be speaking to Xi Jinping over there today. And apparently that is what we're waiting for right now to get over with before the Iran strikes restart once again.
So that seems to be the sentiment. That seems to be everybody, like I said, just kind of, sitting around, fucking twiddling their dicks around, waiting for the president to get back and say either, we're launching bombs again, or, whatever fucking insane statement he puts on Truth Social when he finally gets back from China and inevitably can't keep his fucking eyes open. So that seems to be kind of the position that we're all in, just kind of waiting and watching and seeing and kind of hoping and praying at some point, for when Donald Trump gets back and, where this is going to go.
I will say that it's usually a very telltale sign we start seeing F-16s and other fighter jets start arriving in an area like this and this type of numbers right here. It usually indicates that something's coming very, very soon. But not only this right here, by the way, we do have another piece of information, and this one goes to Gordo on Twitter. We have seen that apparently the massive U.S. Air Force airlift has once again resumed today, and it appears to be in full swing according to Flight Radar 24. And as you can see right here, it's an entire range of activity. There's a whole bunch of Moose, there's a whole bunch of RCH, and these are cargo flights, and also I believe mixed in here as well, there are also some refueling flights as well, because of course some of these aircraft need refueling to get all the way from Europe down to the Middle East. So as
is this resupply, right? Is this restocking and supplying the troops that are in the area, getting them set to go off on this like next excursion, this next part of the war, this next piece of escalation that we're going to see, or possibly could see, I should say. Again, posing this with the F-16 news, posing this with, again, the words of being locked and loaded from Pete Hegseth, the reports from Israel of them having new target packages within Iran that they're ready to take out. Pair all the news together, and it's kind of looking, again, much more likely that we're going to see escalation and bombs being dropped again, more than we're going to see, more likely to see negotiations of this thing come to a peaceful resolution. At some point, negotiations are how all wars end. At some point, all wars come to an end through talks. It's just how much destruction and death is seen between the time of when it kicks off and, again, when those talks inevitably come to fruition, and who suffers the most, right? That's the question that needs to be asked. But it looks like, again, the actions and the activity of the United States military have increased in multiple aspects, which has given everybody the indication that we're more likely to see this thing kick back off as soon as Donald Trump gets back from China.
See a ton of activity right here, and it looks like it's once again in full swing today, which is also in conjunction with the new fighter jets arriving at Prince Sultan Air Base. So also another pretty big sign. But moving on to our next post here, this one's going to go to Clash Report. Meanwhile, right now in the Gulf states, they are preparing for the worst, and in fact, they are urgently building anti-drone defenses around their oil storage facilities, and right now we're seeing that really happening in the UAE. And right here in the image, you can see there are these massive steel scaffolding that they're installing around all their oil tanks, and this is not the cheap netting, by the way. This is massive structures that are very strong, actually, designed to keep the drones away from
So again, this details a very concerted effort to again, a rushed effort, as it were, to mitigate the damages being done. And you wouldn't go to these lengths, you wouldn't go to these levels if you didn't suspect that this was going to come to blows again. If you thought there was some off ramp, if you thought there was some path to negotiations, then you really wouldn't take these you wouldn't take these steps, you wouldn't go to these lengths in order to, again, put up and spend the money to protect these oil storage facilities if you didn't have the illusion that this was going to kick back off again.
Oil. So this is being built very urgently right now inside the UAE. So it looks to me like this is a sign of things to come as well. And once again, it seems to be the final stages of preparations before the war gets kicked off once again. And as Clash Report noted over here in his tweet, he said, this is not cheap netting, but systems capable of stopping heavy UAVs. And he is 100% correct. This is not for FPV drones, like those little small miniature drones, the little fast ones. This is made for like Shaheds and larger drones. This is made for the big ones. And it looks like that is what the UAE is currently trying to mainly defend against, are those larger ones, which is mainly what Iran's been using to hit the Gulf states. So that definitely seems to be a preparation. But moving on from this post right here and moving into our next one, this one goes to open source intel. And believe it or not, we also have one more interesting sign as well, that things might be starting to change.
And this was strange to see as well. I don't know what you guys will draw from this. Again, take this with a grain of salt. If in fact this reporting is confirmed or conclusive, what is coming up if the Iranians have kind of abandoned Karg Island because they know it's going to be a target. If they have abandoned Karg Island because we've heard recently that there was a pretty substantial oil spill, oil leak coming from the island that you can actually see from different satellite images as well. So a lot of people kind of speculating as to what's going on, but this says reports indicate that tankers loading operations at Karg Island have stopped. Very interesting. It says satellite imagery shows no tankers have loaded cargo since the suspected Karg Island oil spill. Imagery from May 7th, 8th, and 11th shows no tankers present at the loading terminals following the suspected spill on May 6th. So if that is in fact the reasoning behind it, again, what is causing that oil spill? I don't think we've actually seen a definitive answer, nor do I think we're likely to see a definitive answer while this war is going on. But is that the reason that these, the operations have stopped? Or again, is this kind of a sign that this thing is going to kick back off and that the Iranians know that this could be a potential target? So again, just let this play.
A little bit with the Iran situation. We've also seen that reports are now indicating that tanker loading operations at Karg Island have now suddenly stopped, and nobody's really sure exactly why. But apparently, though, from the imagery showing from May 7th, 8th, and 11th, shows no tankers present at any of the loading terminals. And of course, there is an oil spill in the area, and they are believing that maybe the oil spill is the reason why they're not using it, possibly. But I will say, we saw the tankers pulling up even with the oil spill before. Now, all of a sudden, the tankers are missing, and they're not seeing any on the satellite videos. So taking a look right here, you can see there is May the 11th. Here's May the 8th, and they're jumping back to May the 11th now. And you can see right here, there is no activity whatsoever. Those export terminals right there, they are wide open, and there is the oil spill. We can see that generally, but we don't see any tankers pulling up to the shore here. So that is very telling, I will say. Very interesting, to say the least. I'm not sure if maybe Iran's expecting strikes on Karg Island itself, but whatever the case is, though, it looks like they have taken measures to get their ships away from Karg Island. So we'll have to wait and see. Maybe it's an oil spill, maybe it's not. We'll just have to wait and see. But moving into our next post here, this one's going to go to Visegrad 24. Meanwhile, though, speaking of oil, things are not going good.
Again, this is a huge problem, as a lot of people have been speculating and talking about. We've talked and heard a lot of people say, even if the strait was to open today, you wouldn't see the immediate relief that you were expecting. You wouldn't see the immediate relief that Donald Trump and Pete Hegseth and Mike Johnson say that you're destined to feel right away as soon as the war ends. We've talked about how long down the line this is going to continue to impact people. Even if this thing does get kind of fixed, even if this thing does end right away, we're going to see not only months and months of impact from this, but potentially years and years of impact before things kind of, settle back down to some sort of normalcy, as it were. But this is put out by Visegrad 24. It says Qatar's energy minister Saad Al-Kabi says Qatar isn't planning on exporting any more liquid natural gas via the Hormuz Strait after the 2 gas tankers which left last week. He says it'll take 2 to 3 months for energy shipments to normalize after the strait opens, and expect 2 to 3 years. 2 to 3 years of high oil and high gas prices. For years, Qatar helped the regime in Iran in bypassing sanctions for years, as well as amplifying Tehran's propaganda through Al Jazeera. And still, Qatar's gas infrastructure was attacked by Iran, and its LNG tankers now can't pass through the Strait of Hormuz. Doha fed the Islamist monster across the strait for years, and it seems like there is still no retrospection on the Qatar's part. And then it goes on to say here, as you can see here, the post on the bottom, energy intelligence from Qatar's energy minister, and it goes on to say the same thing: 2 to 3 months for LNG exports and broader energy shipments to normalize, even after the Strait of Hormuz fully opens. And again, that is kind of nowhere near in the future that we could see as far as the opening of the strait. So you can see kind of how long down the line we're going to have to pay the price for this, pay the price for these actions. But, it's kind of being reported by by these energy states themselves. So it's not like Donald Trump could come out and say that they're wrong.
Right now in the Strait of Hormuz, and they're specifically not going good with the oil and energy exports from the Gulf states, because today we have just heard that apparently Qatar is now saying that the country of Qatar isn't planning on exporting any more liquefied natural gas via the Hormuz Strait after the 2 gas tankers which left last week. So if that report's accurate,
and again, I know we're running out of time here, so just kind of to wrap that one up, but place that on top of the the fertilizer issue, place that on top of the the jet fuel problem, place that on top of, again, the oil and diesel issues that we've been facing, and it looks like the things are going to get worse much before they get better in this in this situation. This is another one here that I wanted to kind of touch base on, because there was apparently this enormous inferno in and around Moscow. This says Moscow's other Kremlin engulfed in flames after mysterious inferno. I haven't heard yet anybody claim responsibility or kind of give any explanation as to what started this inferno, but this was just a quick Sun video here, clip of this. And I think this is one of those weird no narration videos by the Sun, where they just kind of put the text on the screen. But I just kind of was curious about this. This is saying Moscow, Russia, May 13th, and it shows a pretty substantial blaze here. On the screen, it says, this is the moment Moscow's, quote, other Kremlin goes up in flames amid speculation Ukrainian strikes have hit deep inside of Russia. Again, I haven't seen any confirmation or anything along the lines of that reporting before I came on, so I don't want to confirm or deny that. I just am going through the video footage that we've seen come out of this so far. It says the blaze hit part of a cultural and tourist complex at Ismailovo, which mimics the architectural look of the real Kremlin some 7 miles away. So basically, that's why they called it the second Kremlin there. It's kind of like a representation of the Kremlin, which is now looks like been engulfed in flames. I mean, that's a pretty fucking substantial fire. It looks like this person, whoever's videoing this, is a pretty fair distance away from this. And you can see what looks to be almost an entire city block engulfed in flames there. It says the fire spread across more than 32,000 square feet and smoke engulfed the east of Moscow. Rescue workers evacuated 5 people from the burning building, with many fleeing the huge overnight inferno. You can see the spires or the domes. Forgive me if I don't know the accurate name for these, but you can clearly see the representation of what's supposed to be the Kremlin there, and clearly a substantial fire still burning in the background. Investigations into the cause of the fire are now underway. Like I said, I didn't see anything reported before I came on, so I don't want to confirm or deny anything that was reported here. But we'll end on this one, if I may. This was a report put out by Jake Bro, just giving us a little bit of an overview and update as to the slaughter that has been faced by the Russian military and the death count that we're now up to 1.343 million Russian soldiers eliminated from the battlefield, right? 11,926 tanks, 24,553 armored vehicles, 41,935 artillery systems, and the fucking list just continues. It's astronomical. Again, if you add up the value and the worth of all of that equipment, again, on top of the amount of soldiers eliminated from the battlefield, is astronomical. It really is. It's insane to even try to comport or put that into some sort of perspective that Americans could understand. But again, just to go through a couple minutes of this, and then I'll get you guys out of here. Some updates here from the front and some things to go over here from Jake Bro. Much appreciated, guys. Make sure you hit that like button. Thank you to everybody that's gifted. Make sure you stick around to the end of the show. We always make sure to say thank you, give everybody a sign of appreciation, a big show of thank you, and a spotlight for contributing either via Venmo, which is up in the corner there. Quick picture. All we ask for is $1 or $2. Nothing beyond that is kind of required. If you want to contribute more than that, 100% up to you. If it's within your financial capabilities, I appreciate it. You can buy me a coffee. I don't drink coffee, but we call it that. Or you could buy me a Gatorade or a Powerade. It's a really direct way and easy way to help the show. You can also sign up for a YouTube membership or at patreon.com/BostonBrian. So I just wanted to touch base on a few of these numbers and a little bit of the updates coming here from Ukraine as well. And then we'll get you guys out of here. Appreciate you guys. Play.
Welcome back, Defenders. Perceptions of the war have changed. The mainstream media is finally noticing. This is the editorial board for the Wall Street Journal. Is Ukraine turning the Russian tide?
I see. We brought this up too with Preston this morning. I understand the reporting. I understand the reporting, considering again the successes recently that the Ukrainian military has seen. But the fact that again we're over 4 years into a 72-hour military operation that was supposed to see the Russian military march into Kyiv in their armored column and just take over the entire thing right away, and now we're talking about where they're fighting and how much territory that they've had to fight for and how many soldiers they've lost trying to fight for that territory, the goals they haven't been able to achieve, right? The things that they haven't been able to obtain. I feel like the Ukrainians have been consistently winning. I don't know. I have a problem with this. Like, is Ukraine turning the Russian tide? And, I just think there's like maybe a different way you can word it. That doesn't seem like they were losing this whole time. Like I feel like it does a disservice to the amount of work and the successes that they've seen so far in, again, mitigating the damages in the amount of territory taken over by the Russian horde here. Right. So I don't know. I have a problem on one hand, while also I understand the reporting.
Shrinking victory parade signals Ukraine's military advances. This was posted by Trump's former Vice President Mike Pence. He's a supporter of Ukraine, and he quotes the article. This is a moment to increase support for Ukraine so it can keep
posted by Mike Pence. I didn't even see that part of it here. Right above my head, you can see Mike Pence reposting this and says, this is a moment to increase support for Ukraine so it can keep the pressure on Russia. Only the prospect of a great leader of greater losses, and potential defeat will cause Mr. Putin to abandon his imperial ambitions in Ukraine and in Western Europe. Is Ukraine turning the tide? And again, the title of the Wall Street Journal opinion there. But I think that's maybe why I've seen, while I was putting together this show, I did see Mike Pence come up a lot. I think Cat Turd had a post where he called him a traitor or something along those lines. Not sure if it was based on this post here by Mike Pence, but something along the lines where Mike Pence's name is now being brought back up. And I wonder if it's because of his kind of post here in support of the Ukrainian military.
Pressure on Russia. Only the prospect of greater losses and potential defeat will cause Mr. Putin to abandon his imperial ambitions in Ukraine and in Western Europe. Here's an article from The Economist. Russia is stumbling on the battlefield. As casualties soar in Ukraine, Vladimir Putin looks ever more beleaguered at home. Here's a summary of The Economist article. For the first time in nearly 3 years, the initiative in the war appears to be shifting towards Ukraine. The magazine writes that Ukraine is gradually changing the course of the war and inflicting increasingly serious damage on Russia. These are the key points of the article.
See, gradually changing the course of the war, I have no issues with. I think that's accurate. I think that's a good representation of what's been going on. But like this whole all of a sudden changing the tide, like they haven't been kicking Russia's ass and making them pay for every fucking square inch every second of this war so far. And again, the babushkas haven't been beating the Russians over their heads, from the first weeks of this fucking war is kind of, again, I think slightly disrespectful and something that, I take issue with.
Russia's spring offensive has effectively failed. Their winter offensive failed. Their spring offensive failed. There's not going to be a summer offensive. There's no secret force of hundreds of thousands of soldiers and tanks and jets that are going to appear out of nowhere. Russia is running out of gas. In April, Russian forces suffered net territorial losses for the first time since August 2024. Over the past 30 days, Russia lost control of 113 square kilometers. Ukrainian drones are striking deeper and deeper into Russia's rear areas, and military and economic targets are being hit 2,000 kilometers from the border. If you had to brief Putin, the picture would look pretty grim. This is fantastic to be getting some support from the mainstream media. Ukraine is getting more attention. They're getting more articles and news reports. This was a bump ironically because of the weak May 9th Victory Day parade, but I'll take all the help I can get. In addition, Putin is showing weakness to the public. For the first time, he made this statement that he thinks the Russia-Ukraine war is coming to an end soon. Now, does this mean he expects Ukraine to unconditionally surrender to him, or does he mean he's willing to actually stop the conflict? Who knows, but he is signaling that he wants to talk to the Europeans now for negotiations. These trilateral peace talks between Ukraine, Russia, and the United States, it doesn't.
And again, I'd be very wary of believing any of that bullshit or the rhetoric, and that wasn't just, again, a similar attempt like we've seen from Donald Trump to kind of mitigate the damages, to try to affect some change in the market, to try to kind of quell the pressure, as it were. So now this Vladimir Putin, now that he's kind of seeing more pressure put on him, both internally and by the citizenry, based on, again, the problems with the economy, the lack of success that he's seen in the war, all of those things having kind of in effect an impact on the way people view him in this. But I wouldn't put much stock into the fact that he says it's coming to an end. Again, I think it's him basically trying to say, don't worry about it, much like Donald Trump saying that a peace deal is coming any second now. So don't worry about it. The markets can kind of relax and the oil prices can go down. I think it's kind of along those lines. It says here that EU ministers dismissed Putin's idea of a role for Schroeder in future security talks. Again, what that's specifically pertaining to and how serious those efforts are or intentions are by the Russians. Again, I would have, serious problems believing anything that the Russians say. Typically, the opposite is true. So that's seemingly a good position to take in any of the things that you're hearing from the Russians. Obviously, second guess at the first turn. Make sure you double, triple, quadruple check to see if what they're saying is true. And typically, you'll find out right off the bat that it is not. But all right, I'll get you guys out of here a couple minutes early today. Very much appreciate you guys. Another good show. Thank you to everybody that's been contributing. Thank you to all of you fantastic people in this community that we've built here, especially the mods. You guys are fantastic. Again, on all the platforms, I appreciate each and every one of you for all that you do. Thank you so much to the sparklers that come and join us after, from Hal's show. Very much appreciate you guys for coming in and showing the love and support as well. But what do you say we get into thanking some people on the old Venmo side of things tonight that were nice enough to send in an old buck or two up here in the corner, right there in particular. Right, I think it's right there. There it is, right there. You take a picture of that, send you to the Venmo. That's all you got to do. Send a buck or two. Say thank you. Very much appreciate, again, like I said, everybody contributing. Let's go through the list today because you guys deserve it. First on the list today, thank you so much to Leslie A. Very much appreciate you, Leslie A. Leslie says, thanks for the hard work to keep us aware of what's really happening in the world. Hearts, thank you so much, Leslie, for the kind words. Very much appreciate that, dear. Thank you for your viewership, your loyalty in watching here, giving me the opportunity to bring you the news. Thank you so much to Nina C. Very much appreciate you, Nina. Thanks for all that you do. You're truly appreciated. No, Nina, you are truly appreciated. Very much appreciate you. Hope you had a wonderful, wonderful Mother's Day as well. Not sure which one you are in that picture. So I don't know if I should be saying Happy Mother's Day or I hope you wish your mother a Happy Mother's Day. But either way, thank you so much for your kind contribution in being here. We always appreciate you, Nina. Thank you so much to Damon as well. Damon says for Legos. Thank you, brother. Never been, obviously when I was a kid, Legos, but never got into the obsession like that. I'm more now into the the AI Lego videos than anything. So thank you so much, Dave, for your contribution, brother. Always good to see you in the Zooms, my friend. Thank you so much to Allison M. for your kind contribution as well. Very much appreciated, dear. Thank you so much for being here. Next on the list is Ricky. Thank you so much, Ricky, kicking it off today. Very much appreciate that with the $10 contribution. Keep doing great things. I shall try. It's only with your help and your support that we're going to be able to continue to do those things. So thank you so much, Ricky, for keeping us going. And then, like I said, over the last couple of days, Jeff, Yakov, thank you so much. Thank you so much again to Geneva for everything you've been doing. Thank you so much to Roger and Karen. Thank you so much to Allison again. Nancy, much love, Nancy. Very much appreciate you. Roxanne as well. Who else over the last couple days? Tom and Victoria, Cynthia, Allison, Peter, Debbie, Moms. You guys are all fantastic. Jenny, Faye, and Corey, of course. MR. Thank you guys so much for your help, your love, your support over the years and help building this fabulous community. Let's take a quick check. Quick check here. Subscriber check real quick. We have surpassed 18,000, guys. Let's go. So just the other day, we were at 16 and change. We're now at 18,250 subscribers here on YouTube. Again, much more looking like we're going to get to that goal, or much more likely or obtainable, let's just say, that we can get to our goal of 20K by the time midterm comes around, by the time November gets here, and we want to start, throwing some punches and having the most weight behind our punches, make sure that we can, have the most impact on what takes place. So thank you guys so much for getting us to that position. Again, 18,000 subscribers is nothing to shake a stick at, so very impressive and very appreciative of you guys getting us to this position. Let's see if we can keep that train rolling, see if you guys can share these shows out. I'll continue to put out clips and stuff of the show. You guys keep sharing them out, and we'll keep working together like the team that we are. So what do you say we say thanks to everybody over here on the YouTube side of things this evening. First up, thank you so much to Jeff, Boston Brian. You constipated with Lego videos. Evacuate, kid. I'm telling you, there's a backup. There's a big backup, severe backup. I don't know what the diarrhea medicine is, but, I'll send it over to you, Jen. I'll send it over. I appreciate you, brother. Thank you so much for your contribution, as always. Thank you so much to the Juggling Cellist. Let's go. What a name. Appreciate you. Thank you for the $10 contribution. Greetings. First time. Love the channel. Much appreciated. Always good to see new people coming in here, filtering in, obviously contributing, finding enough value in the show to contribute. So very much appreciated in there. Juggling Cellist. Cellist. What am I, an idiot? I should have seen the cello in your hand. I should have realized that a cellist, it didn't really make sense, but didn't really strike me too quick. So my apologies. Thank you so much to the Juggling Cellist, which makes a whole lot more sense. Again, that must be difficult to do. How do you juggle and play the cello at the same? I'm gonna have to see that. That I'm going to have to see. Let me know if you got any videos on your channels. But thank you so much, and welcome to the channel. Welcome to the community. Hope you find a welcoming place in that chat. Thank you so much, Ricky, as well. 10 gifted memberships. Shout out to Ricky W, guys, in the chat for your support and contributions. 10 fantastic people in the chat now receiving Boston Brian memberships for a month because of Ricky's kindness and contributions to the channel. So again, W, Ricky, thank you so much. Please make sure you're giving that pup a nice treat for me. Thank you, B-Man, as well. Shell Shock 17 to Phil Motorcycle. Thanks, Donnie. This guy is a stone cold bank robber. It's revolt time. Go to give Hal 5. Love you guys. Thank you so much, B-Man. Appreciate your contributions. And yeah, I don't know. I've never been a huge motorcycle guy, so I'm not sure. I'm taking your word for it that 17 is, pretty substantial as far as the size of that tank is considered. But again, everybody kind of feeling that pinch, feeling that pain right now at the pump. So I'm sure, like I said, how fishermen right now and anybody that has to utilize diesel and truck drivers right now are making a living, I have no fucking idea. I have no goddamn clue. So thank you, B-Man. Appreciate you. Thank you, Machine Tool, MT, Big Man. Appreciate you in there for the 50 gifted memberships. What a contribution, as always. Very much appreciate you for what you do. Thank you so much to Wes Webb as well. Again, 50 unbelievable people in the chat now getting memberships because of the contributions. How long have I been muted? That whole entire time? Hold on. Timeout. Hold on. I'm going back. Why would that just all of a sudden mute me? So weird. Anyway, I think this place is trying to shut me up, but I do appreciate you. Oh, thank you, Pam. Pam's like, no, shut up. You're not muted. Keep talking, you idiot. Don't worry about it. But thank you so much. Appreciate you guys. Thank you, Wes, for the 777. I thought you were Universalist. Time to seal the borders. No, stop that. Absolutely not. But I do appreciate your contribution. Thank you so much, JD, for the 5 gifted memberships. My friend, longtime contributor of the show. Very valued member down there in the chat. Much appreciated, JD. Thank you, MT, once again for your kind contribution. U.S. military personnel are regularly sent to Ukraine. BS. Again, I'm calling that as well. And again, along those lines, I'd like to see kind of what he's doing to prove that. And again, what resource missions they're on, what help, who they're talking to, who they're linking with. Again, the fact that he said that is one thing, but I do think that it shows the hypocrisy of him knowing how important it would be to send people there, while also saying that he's not utilizing the resources allocated by Congress to send to Ukraine to help the Ukrainians. So again, I'm right there with you, MT. Definitely don't believe anything coming out of their mouths as well. Thank you so much again to Jin. Appreciate you, brother. A few months back, Tiff urged us to get Boston Brian to 20K before the midterms. Seemed impossible, Tiff. Let's get 25K. I don't know. Let's not push the envelope here. Like I always say, it's if you're not going to set the goals high, if you're not going to shoot towards the moon, there's no sense setting goals in the first place. But let's not get ahead of ourselves, okay? We've seen some good success, some recent success. A couple videos have done well, and that's drawn in a few more people to the channel. But let's not get ahead of our skis here. Let's take it one step at a time. I'm very, very appreciative. I'm very, very happy and thankful for the community that we've built here and being able to grow this platform like we have. But again, I want to take it one step at a time. We'll stick to the 20K. We'll stick to the 20K goal. And if we get past that, great. We'll set a new goal for ourselves because that's what we do. So appreciate you, Jeff. Thank you so much for your contributions and calling us out. President of Peace, MT says, absolutely. Just a ridiculous bit of hypocrisy there. We've seen the exact and total opposite of everything that he's promised, everything that he said was going to take place and happen if he got into this second term. Again, what did you expect from somebody with 30,000 plus lies told in his first term? So, we tried to warn people. I'm sure, MT, you were out there trying to warn people as well as everybody else. So, the hypocrisy is not lost upon us, but unfortunately it is not seen, from his cult. That's the problem. But thank you so much, MT, for your contributions as well. Big night from you. I really do appreciate you, my man. Thank you, B-Man, again, for the $2 contribution. Slava Ukraine. Heroyam Slava right back at you. Jordan, what's going on, my brother? Ari Lego video. Let's not forget the U.S. shooting down in Iran Flight 655 in 1988, unaliving 290 people. Absolutely. I think that was even represented in one of the Lego videos. Again, there's been so many. Don't ask me which one it was or who it was put out by, but I do believe that was accurately and factually depicted in one of the videos as well. So again, a little history lesson know that's something that a lot of Americans are lacking in: history, knowledge of history, and basically being able to see things that have happened in the past and hopefully stop them from happening in the future, which is another place we're lacking in. So Jordan, thank you so much for bringing that up. That fits in right with the 1958 CIA plot to overthrow the leader of Iran at that time as well. So we've seen kind of a lot of facts come out of those videos, which is again why I say it's not propaganda. So thank you so much, Jordan. Hope you're having a wonderful day, my friend. Thank you so much to Carol as well for the $10 contribution. It says here to a lot of people, what's that say? Tin, my name, all taking me to breakfast. Eat your heart out. The rest of you, love you. Who's taking you to breakfast? All of those people? I want to go to breakfast. I love breakfast. I love a good breakfast. Well, I hope you enjoy your breakfast. Make sure you stuff down a couple bacon, egg, and cheeses for me, if you will. I appreciate that. Thank you, Carol. Hope you guys have a good time, unless I'm, again, misunderstanding that. Thank you, Bicycle Mike says, fuck the orcs. Right there with you, Bicycle Mike. Hope you're well, my friend. Always good to see you down there in the chat. And again, no notes, seconded. And then JD rounding it out tonight. Thank you so much. Russia doesn't have the troops to occupy Ukraine if they do make the gains. Again, another problem that I don't think they've thought about, and something that, again, JD, I appreciate you for bringing that up. We've talked about as we bring up like the deep state map here, just to give you kind of an accurate representation of what JD's talking about there. I'll pull up this real quick. Something that we've touched base on a lot here, so nothing new in case you've watched the show for a long time. But, the amount of territory here that you see, like, don't be fooled by the amount of red. Let's just say, here, let me put this on the screen. My apologies because you can't see it. I'm talking about it. But, you can see the red here, obviously depicted in, the occupied territory held by the Russians. But this does not mean that they have troops and units and squads in every single one of these towns and villages and the ability to defend or even occupy these towns and villages all over the place. Like, they are widespread. I mean, you can see here where the different groups are kind of stationed as well. This is the 57th Motor Rifle Brigade. This is the 242nd Guards Motorized Rifle Brigade. So, different units, but they're not everywhere, as you can see. So don't be fooled by this splotch of red all over the screen that sometimes, you kind of think at, and it's like, wow, they got people in all of those places. No, absolutely fucking not. They absolutely don't. So again, don't be fooled by that. There's still a lot of territory in there that we continue to talk about that the Russians don't have the ability to defend against. Obviously, within their own territory, as big as it is, it shows a clear problem in having the ability to defend all of the resources that they have to be able to defend. And again, obviously, the Ukrainians taking good advantage of that, the difficulties and possibly the impossibility of defending their resources, all of the resources they need. So just to kind of to point out that JD has obviously listened to blunt politics in his time here and has learned a thing or two. He's absolutely fucking right that Russia does not have the troops to occupy Ukraine, even if they did make the gains that Russia wants to see had. So appreciate you guys. Thank you so much, JD, for your loyalty, your viewership as well. Much appreciated to everybody in the chat who's given us the opportunity to grow this far and to hopefully grow even further. Like I said, we're trying to get to 20K before midterms. We have just surpassed 18,000 here on YouTube, which is, again, a very substantial thing. I don't want to downplay that by any stretch of the imagination. And again, the support that you guys have shown in getting us from 0 to, again, 18,000, because you guys are responsible for all of that. I told you at the very beginning you were going to have the ability to watch this grow. There's not many of these shows that you can see start from the very beginning, from the very humble beginnings that we had to, again, what we've built here as far as the community, the shows that we have, the information that we can pass out there and pass along to you guys. So I do appreciate you. We're on the right track. And again, it would be very, very appreciated if you could hit that subscribe button, help us get to 20K. I will see you guys tomorrow for the Thursday show. Make sure you go check out my conversation with Preston Stewart. We covered a lot. I know it was only an hour show and we tried to cram a lot of things in there. A lot more to discuss. Hopefully we can get him back on the show not too long in the future. That would be fantastic. Big shout out to the mods. Thank you so much for everything that you guys do and helping grow this platform, keeping the community a safe place, making sure people can, engage in healthy debate, but not feel, pressured or bullied or, any violence, towards them whatsoever. So thank you guys. Love you. Couldn't do it without you. Very much appreciate everything that you do. And I will see you tomorrow for the Thursday show, 2 p.m. 2 p.m. tomorrow here on the East Coast. That's 11 a.m. on the West Coast. Make sure you hit that notification bell. That'll let you know when I go live. Again, if you can support the show in any way, shape, or form, please reach out whichever way is the easiest for you, whether it's a YouTube membership, which is less than a gallon of gas just underneath me. You can gift those memberships out, whether that's just a super sticker or a super chat in the community over there. Or again, if you sign up at patreon.com/Boston Brian, 3 great tiers get you involved in access to all of the Zoom chats that we have, which just gives you the ability to kind of put a face behind the screen name of people that you've been talking with in the chat for so long. We just kind of shoot the shit. We talk about random things. Could be politics, could be pets, could be weather, could be camping, for all you know. But, it's just a better way to kind of get acquainted with the people in the chat. So sign up at patreon.com/Boston Brian. Also get you discounts to the merch site at bostonbrian.com. Also, bostonbrian.com gives you all the information to, like, the show scheduling, all the Zoom dates, all of the links to all of my social media platforms, and obviously the merch site as well. So thank you to everybody that's been purchasing the merch. You guys have seriously helped so much. You have no idea. And again, keeping the lights on, putting food on the table, and hopefully building some semblance of a life myself at one point would be fucking fantastic. Again, don't necessarily need to be driving a Ferrari, but any vehicle would be great. It would be great. So if you guys could help and throw in a buck or two, that would be fantastic. Very much appreciated. And I'll see you tomorrow. Much love. Keep your head on a swivel out there. Make sure you're staying loud, staying proud, staying aggressive. Make sure you're kicking ass every chance you get. Take no names, no fucking mercy, right? Slava Ukraina, Heroyam Slava, fuck ICE, fuck Donald Trump. Chinga la migra. Love you guys. Very much appreciate it. I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks. Rocks. Thank you so much. These people are really hard to reach out to.
Мій позивний танцор. Я представник 72-ї бригади. Дякую тобі і твоїм підписникам за цей донат, за цю чудову машину, яка буде нас возити усіх на позиції, захищати Україну і наближати перемогу. Разом усі до перемоги. Дякую.
Do we love miners? I love miners. The undisputed champion of beautiful, clean coal.
Here's a thought. Grow a sack, fill it with some balls.
It's a new form of vicious violation to our country. God bless the United States. We're inviting Americans from all across the country to come out to officially name the undisputed. When did this come out? Just getting acclimated. You know what that means? Acclimated.
He says wrecked him, damn near killed him.
Never fight uphill, me boys. Never fight uphill. They were fighting uphill. He said, wow.
Вітаю, Бостон Брайан. Мій позивний танцор. Я представник 72-ї бригади. Дякую тобі і твоїм підписникам за цей донат, за цю чудову машину, яка буде нас возити усіх на позиції, захищати Україну і наближати перемогу. Разом усі до перемоги. Дякую.
The big, fat, sloppy United States.